the great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351 Gains and Losses. Oh my god, I thought I had a good shelter, but now it seems that I have caused a lot of trouble. Yunfan couldn't help but take a deep breath. Everything in this world is fair. There are gains and losses. Unless you are the creator god of this world. But even if you are the creator god of this world, you may not make everyone happy. For example, this destruction clan is very powerful. Although it has not reached the level of a lower god, it is still a top-notch existence even among the 10th level strongmen. With your current strength, it is impossible to kill him. The only thing you can do now is to delay for a while, wait for that girl to deal with other people, and then come to help you. Sakadin suggested. Yunfan did not answer, but paid attention to the vitality of this destruction clan. Yunfan knew that this was not the time to act on impulse. Although he was a little unhappy when he heard Sakada say that, what this guy said was also true. Yunfan secretly made up his mind and said, one day I must stand at the top of this world. This world is very big. It may not be easy to stand at the top of this world, but you have the help of that thing. As long as you don't die, it is very likely that you can stand at the top of the world. Sakadin said with a hint of meaning. To be honest, everything on Yunfan really made Sakadin very excited. Let's not talk about other things. The divine sword Daoluo alone can make the entire god continent crazy. What's more, he also has the legendary world tree on him. This thing can no longer be said to be possessed by good luck. Sakadin felt that Yunfan was definitely the illegitimate son of the god of creation. Otherwise it would be impossible for him to have so many benefits. Even if he was a genius in the god continent at that time, compared to Yunfan, he felt like a waste, not comparable at all. Yunfan, you must be more careful. The destruction clan is not only powerful in terms of the power of destruction, but also in terms of their physical bodies. In the divine continent, they can be ranked in the top 5 with their physical bodies alone. Some powerful destruction clan can even crush the gods of the same level with just their physical strength. In addition, they are naturally immune to the power of magic element, so ordinary gods can only be beaten. Sakadin reminded, if it weren't for the fact that this thing is so ugly, I would be slightly tempted now. Yunfan thought to himself. Yunfan suddenly increased his speed, and the Daoluo sword was nimble in his hands, like an elf. Yunfan originally thought that with this sudden move, he could cause a lot of trouble to the destruction clan in front of him, but what Yunfan didn't expect was that the speed of the destruction clan was so fast that it was almost a black line, and the naked eye couldn't figure it out. He didn't even have time to react, and was directly hit on the chest by a palm. Yunfan fell to the ground like a falling meteor, leaving deep web-like cracks on the ground. This bastard is too fast, isn't he? With my current strength, I can't even catch his figure. Yunfan slowly got up from the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood directly on the ground. To be honest, he felt really bad now, and his whole body seemed to fall apart again. I have already reminded you just now that the destruction clan can crush the gods of the same level with just their physical bodies. Is this guy so unstoppable? Yunfan frowned slightly. That's right, otherwise the destruction clan wouldn't have become the public enemy of the whole world. Even the Dark Series is no exception. Sakadin said, to be honest, if this guy had used all his strength, you would have been dead by now. Don't you realize that this guy doesn't seem to want to kill you? If it weren't for the fact that you killed too many armies of Warcraft, I'm afraid he wouldn't have attacked directly. The destruction clan are all extremely cruel guys. They shouldn't be so fussy. Have you forgotten what happened with the Immortal Legion some time ago? The Immortal Legion and the destruction clan are actually almost the same thing. What do you mean? Since this is a seal set up by the sword god, using the power of the sword god can strengthen the seal, and conversely, it can also unlock the seal. Yunfan's tone was terrifyingly low. You mean she wants to use your power to open the seal and release the 4 generals of the Immortal Legion from the seal? Sakadin said in disbelief. Can you think of any other reasons? I think this possibility is very high. After you said that, I also think this possibility is very high. He wants to capture me alive and let me help him unlock the seal. What don't I understand about this? Yunfan's mind flashed a glimmer of enlightenment. He thinks that he is really the descendant of the sword god. But theoretically speaking, it is true. Not only did you get the sword god's demon sealing sword technique, you even have the sword god's sword in your hands. Well, if what you said is true, then he will definitely not kill you. Since he will not kill you, and only capture you alive, that gives us a lot of opportunities. Sakhardan suddenly revealed a mysterious and unfathomable expression. If you have something to say, please say it quickly. If you have something to say, please say it quickly. If this continues, I really can't stand it. Yunfan said angrily. Besides, what chance is there? Can I still kill him? The flesh of this destruction clan is much stronger than the magic beasts of the same level. Even my divine sword Daoluo can't cut it. It's not because your divine sword Daoluo is bad, it's because your strength is relatively poor. You can't exert the full strength of the divine sword Daoluo. In my opinion, you are only exerting half of the power now. Sakhardan said. I only exerted half of the power of the Daoluo divine sword. Yunfan said in disbelief. Otherwise, what do you think? After all, the Daoluo divine sword has been restored to the level of a lower level artifact. If it is not lacking the power to match it, how can it be so useless? Sakhardan couldn't help but sarcastically said. It's really a case of not fighting for 2 days, Sakhardan. After all, we signed a slave contract. Do you talk to your master like this? Yunfan curled his lips. How dare you say that, you little brat. If you weren't such a despicable fellow, forcing and bribing me, how could I have? Chapter 352, Fierce Battle. Haha. I'm still threatening and tempting you. If you hadn't wanted to take over my body, how could you have ended up like this? Forget it. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I will inject all my mental power into your body in a moment, so that you can exert the power of the Daoluo sword. Descendant of the sword god, put down the sword in your hand and follow me. I won't kill you. The monster of the destruction clan didn't know the conversation between Yunfan and Sakhardan. Seeing Yunfan hesitate to speak, he couldn't help but speak again, with a cold face and strong confidence. With the strength of this destruction clan, even a master of the god level can be easily solved, not to mention Yunfan, who is at the 7th level. What if I don't let go? Do you really think you can easily kill me with your strength? Yunfan showed a smile on his face, and pointed to the seal altar in the distance. The divine light was flashing on it, and the battle was very intense. Although the seal seemed to be crumbling, it was still indestructible. The monsters around him were being killed frantically by Kara. Wait for Kara to kill all those monsters and join me. I believe that the two of us can still do something to you. Really? Then it depends on whether I kill you first, or he can kill the monster first. Besides, do you really think this little girl can defeat me? Seeing the mysterious smile on the face of the destruction clan, Yunfan suddenly felt a chill in his heart. Then an extremely dark claw came out of nothingness and pierced his head. So fast. Didn't you just tell me to surrender? Why are you killing me now? The destruction clan was still a few meters away, but its claws had already grabbed his chest. His eyes couldn't react at all. At this moment, Yunfan realized the horror of the destruction clan. Yunfan didn't think twice and used all his strength to strike with the sword. The Daoluo sword blocked his chest. Bang! A series of sparks burst out from the Daoluo sword. Yunfan flew up and fell backwards. He fell more than 10 steps away and left a long mark on the ground. His whole body was numb. Although he intercepted the opponent's attack, he was blown away by the huge force. From this, it can be seen that the gap between the two people is too big. It is simply a world of difference. Yunfan knew that it would be extremely difficult for him to delay time from the opponent, but he had no other way now. The result of not being able to delay would be his own death, but Yunfan didn't want to die yet. Although he is only at the 7th level now, most 8th level warriors are not as powerful as him. Even so, he felt deeply powerless in front of the 10th level destruction clan. The power of sealing demons brought by the Daoluo sword entangled the Destruction Clan, and the Destruction Clan seemed to be paralyzed for a moment, but the next moment, the paralysis disappeared, and it seemed that it could only slightly stop his actions, and could not cause him any substantial damage. Sure enough, the gap between the two is too big. Yunfan couldn't help but take a deep breath. However, this slight pause was equivalent to saving Yunfan's life. Otherwise, if the Destruction Clan continued to attack, Yunfan would really not be sure to take it. Then the Destruction Clan took advantage of the situation and bullied him again. I don't know, when a trident appeared in his hand. The trident directly carried endless destructive power, as if it wanted to destroy everything. Yunfan's face was terribly gloomy. He barely dodged the attack with the help of the power of the flash, but the Destruction Clan seemed to have predicted Yunfan's landing point. When he flashed, the Destruction Clan had already come to his side. The trident went straight to his door. Yunfan immediately broke out in a cold sweat and suddenly blocked the divine sword Daoluo in front of him. After a brief confrontation between the two magic weapons, Yunfan rolled out directly. To be honest, this was really the most embarrassing time for Yunfan, since he came to this world. In the past, he could choose to escape, but now in order to leave here, he can only choose to fight hard here. This power is too great. When Yunfan turned over and got up, he saw that the momentum of the Destruction Clan was getting stronger and stronger, and his internal organs seemed to be turned over. Yunfan's right hand holding the sword trembled involuntarily. Then he looked at his right hand, and saw that the knuckles were broken, and blood was flowing out. The attack from the Destruction Clan was so powerful that it almost took his life. Inheritor of the Sword God, your power is too weak. I don't want to kill you. Put down the sword. The man from the Destruction Clan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a mocking smile. A trace of blood flashed in his eyes. His lips moved and he said, although you are holding the Daoluo sword now, your strength is too weak, and you can't cause any harm to me. I can give you a chance to survive now. As long as you agree to let me lift the seal of the adults and become my subordinate, you can not only survive, but also get power that you can't imagine. I was wondering why you showed mercy to my subordinates. It turns out that you want me to lift the seal. When I let them out, I'm afraid it will be the time to take my life. Yunfan snorted coldly. At the same time, he stepped back and took a step forward suddenly, like a breeze. He was swayed by the attack of the Destruction Clan and somehow avoided his killing move. Your steps are strange. It doesn't seem to belong here, and this step gives me a very familiar feeling. I seem to have seen it somewhere. The guy from the Destruction Clan seemed a little confused, but where exactly have I seen it? Forget it. No matter how much, I will catch you and interrogate you slowly first. Do you think you can run now? The guy from the Destruction Clan flashed and ran, turning into a black line. A long sound like a flute came from the air, as if his body was tearing the air. It was too fast. No. Damn bastard. How could it be so fast? Yunfan, who was running, suddenly felt a sharp wind sound behind his head again, and saw a trident stabbing directly at his head through the corner of his eyes. Yunfan knew that this was the guy from the Destruction Clan who came to kill him again, and hurriedly Daoluo's sword flew again. Bang! Yunfan's body was knocked out more than 10 meters away again. Chapter 353 Blessing. Yunfan's face turned terribly pale, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. He rolled over and over, adjusted his breath, and jumped up again. Demon Sealing Sword Technique Demon Burial. Seeing this, Yunfan suddenly used his Dao Ki to the extreme, jumped and pierced, and used all the strength of his body to drive the divine sword Daoluo to stab the forehead of the guy from the Destruction Clan. He didn't run away, but attacked. Yunfan's sudden counterattack really surprised the guy from the Destruction Clan. How bold. You are worthy of being the descendant of the sword god Houston. You actually want to attack me in this situation. The guy from the Destruction Clan smiled grimly. His body flashed, and an ominosaurus spread all of a sudden. His afterimage was everywhere, and Yunfan actually cut nothing. You know, I have been like this since I was a child. I won't move if I'm beaten, and I will retreat if I'm led. As the saying goes, you lose the battle, but not the battle. You know, at this moment, it is a critical moment of life and death, and there is no room for any carelessness. Yunfan has also raised all his spirits, and his mind is reflecting the surrounding situation all the time. His body is several times more agile than before. It seems that danger can really stimulate human potential. Yunfan tried his best to keep himself calm, and he actually took several attacks from the guy of the Destruction Clan. While fighting with all his strength, Yunfan used all the fighting skills he learned without reservation. Under the pressure between life and death, his potential was released again. The guy of the Destruction Clan was surrounded by Yunfan's sword light, and within a dozen feet, his figure was everywhere. The long physical strength given to him by the King Emperor's fighting spirit finally came in handy now. The power of the Destruction Clan is so powerful and so fast. This is a race that can become a god in the flesh. The power of the whole body is gathered together and burst out. Even ordinary god level masters will be killed, but Yunfan took the opponent's attack. If other people knew about this, they would be shocked and speechless. When facing a true master, Yunfan realized how superficial the use of elemental power was. If he was just a magician, he would have died by now. On the ground, more than a dozen pits appeared, and the soil splashed. It was the Destruction Clan that squeezed Yunfan's potential with every attack. However, every time Yunfan was knocked away, the guy from the Destruction Clan would be eroded by Yunfan's magic sealing power. His movements were hindered, and his movements were not flexible. Yunfan took this opportunity to circulate his fighting spirit, to restore his physical strength. As the magic sealing power penetrated into the body of the Destruction Clan, the movements of the Destruction Clan seemed to be reduced a lot without knowing it. This magic sealing sword technique seems to be naturally restrained against the Destruction Clan. Yunfan said in surprise. If this is really the case, you may not be able to fight this guy. The longer you drag it out, the better it will be for you. Sakuden also reminded. It seems to be the case. In the blink of an eye, with the power of a sword, Yunfan resisted more than 10 attacks from the guy of the Destruction Clan. He felt that his blood was boiling. The blood was flowing from his knuckles. He looked like he couldn't hold the sword, but he still persisted desperately. You can resist so many of my attacks. You can be proud of yourself. I hope to take you as my subordinate, not like those guys who are useless. The guy of the Destruction Clan stood on the spot again, looked at Yunfan coldly and said, I will give you another chance now. Become my subordinate and let me drive you. Otherwise, how many times do you think you can resist? 3. 2. Little girl of the Elf Clan. You are looking for death, do you know that? At this moment, a shocking roar came from the seal altar in the distance, and a very strange seal was placed on the seal altar by Kara. Then the aura on the seal altar was suppressed a lot. At the same time, Yunfan felt that the guy from the Destruction Clan in front of him had actually regressed in strength. What on earth was going on? Could it be? I understand. This guy's not a complete Destruction Clan yet. He must absorb the power of destruction from the seal altar to maintain his current strength. The little girl just reinforced the seal, so the strength of this guy from the Destruction Clan will fade away. At this moment, the guy from the Destruction Clan in front of Yunfan actually began to fight desperately. A black halo emanated from his body. The terrifying light made people feel very uncomfortable, as if something ominous would happen if they were slightly contaminated. Then the black halo was suddenly ignited and burned, turning into bursts of black fire, spreading in all directions. No one expected that Kara was actually carrying the sealing stone on her body. Boom. Without the blessing of the destruction aura, what else can you do? Kara's voice suddenly sounded from behind her, and a golden crossbow arrow shot directly from her divine bow. Just after the guy from the Destruction Clan was shot dead, the seal stone that Kara had just placed on the seal altar suddenly shook violently, as if it had resurrected. The powerful aura of destruction was overwhelming and swept around. Kara saw this, and his face changed. I didn't expect those guys who were sealed to be desperate. If so, it will be really troublesome. We must find a way to stop the Destruction Clan from breaking the seal. Yunfan also saw this situation. Although he didn't know what happened, he had a vague feeling of uneasiness. Dante, I need your help now. What? Insert your Daoluo sword there. Kara suddenly pointed to a position on the seal altar. Yunfan's face changed. You want me to use the Daoluo sword to strengthen the seal? Why didn't you tell me at the beginning? You know, if you lose the Daoluo sword, Ji Yunfan's strength will definitely drop a lot. I didn't want to do this originally, but the degree of damage to the seal has exceeded the imagination of Lady Lilithamy. If the 4 generals of the Destruction clan really escape from it, the entire continent will be devastated. As the descendant of the sword god, you will definitely be hunted down by the Destruction clan. Damn it. Ji Yunfan's face became very ugly, but he quickly made up his mind and inserted the Daoluo sword in his hand in the direction Kara said. Chapter 354 Destruction of the True Body. However, although Ji Yunfan was already very fast, he was still a step slower. Boom. The sealed altar actually broke apart at this moment, as if a large piece had collapsed. It's broken. This time it's really troublesome. Kara never thought that the situation would develop in this direction. The sealed altar emitted an overwhelming aura of destruction, and a sudden change occurred. The monsters that were still fighting over there became even more violent. Their eyes were red, and they suddenly attacked. All turned into after images, and they were at an incredible speed, strangling Ji Yunfan and the others like a tornado. Ji Yunfan felt as if he was suddenly placed in a strong tornado. His eyes were full of strong winds, howling and whistling, and for a moment, he couldn't open his eyes, and his ears were buzzing. I'm afraid I'm in real trouble now. At this moment, Ji Yunfan suddenly felt that the Daoluo sword actually gave him a very excited emotion, and then a very strong force was transmitted from the hilt of the Daoluo sword to Ji Yunfan's body, and then the Daoluo sword faintly emitted a crisp dragon roar. Ji Yunfan felt that his spirit was extremely clear, his mind was clearer than ever before, and everything around him seemed to be under his control. Ji Yunfan did not hesitate, his body flashed, and his whole body moved together, like a dancer on the tip of a needle. The space magic flashed, and quickly killed the crazy monsters around him. Ji Yunfan vaguely felt that he seemed to have transformed into an omnipotent warrior. All his actions seemed to be granted by the Daoluo sword. Not only Ji Yunfan, but even Kassadin did not expect that in this barrier, the Daoluo sword actually aroused the memory of the Daoluo sword housed and hidden in the deepest part. It was no longer Ji Yunfan who was dancing with the Daoluo sword. Ji Yunfan was now in the state of being possessed by the sword god. Ji Yunfan felt the endless power coming from his body and let out a long roar. It's been so many years since the 4 generals. I didn't expect you to be so stubborn and want to come out of the seal. Ji Yunfan's voice was terrible. At this moment, a magic beast suddenly came over and fell on Ji Yunfan. His whole body shook, and a powerful force came out of his body, and he actually knocked the magic beast to the ground. Then Ji Yunfan bent his spine and waved the Daoluo sword in his hand, directly killing all the magic beasts close to him. What's going on with this annoying breath? Tell me who you are. A low voice came from the sealed altar, and the voice was filled with endless anger, as if it was going to destroy the whole world. Who am I? Can't you hear it? It seems that the punishment for you back then was too light. Ji Yunfan showed a mocking smile on his face. You are the sword god Houston. It's impossible. Didn't you die a long time ago? Who are you? The sealed altar roared and screamed. Although I'm dead, my consciousness has been living in the long river of fate. This is impossible. How could you comprehend the power of fate? If you comprehended the power of fate, how could you die back then? The thing in the seal obviously couldn't believe it. There are some things that you won't understand, even if I tell you. If I, the sword god Houston, don't want to die, who can kill me? Ji Yunfan said proudly, as if no one in the world is stronger than him. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Even my king back then didn't comprehend the power of fate. You are just a defeated general of the king. If you hadn't used conspiracy and tricks back then, the king would not have been sealed by you. What happened back then, you don't know, and you don't need to know. You just need to know that I will still seal you up. Ji Yunfan seemed to be talking about a trivial matter. No, you have sealed me for 1,000,000 years. You can't do this. At this moment, a very powerful force of destruction was injected into an elf next to the sealing altar. With the injection of the destructive power, the elf's strength increased rapidly, and soon it reached the peak of the 10th level. Destruction sword. A voice sounded like thunder in Ji Yunfan and Kara's mind. I don't know when, a blood red trident suddenly appeared in the hand of the elf, and on the trident flowed yellow, orange and red airflows. This three-color airflow, like a dragon, seemed to have infinite magic and destructive power. The body of the elf that made the sound slowly expanded and turned into a demon with wings on its back, blood red like hell. It seems that you are really at your wit's end. You actually injected all the destructive power that penetrated into him. Sword God Houston, this era is no longer your era. Yunfan shook off the monster's attack with a sword. Yunfan could see streams of three-color air currents flowing from the opponent's body, like pythons, winding around the guy's body and connecting with his muscles, giving him endless power. How is it possible that I have used so much destructive power, but still cannot break through the god level? Don't you know that the laws of this world have been changed by me since 1 million years ago? No one can use more than the 10th level of power on the continent, of course. This also includes me, Yunfan said. In fact, Yunfan is now like an audience. His body is now controlled by a very powerful mental power. From the series of conversations just now, he has understood that the one controlling his body is a legendary sword god Houston. If you can't break through to more than the 10th level, you can't form the godhead again. Having the godhead and not having the godhead are two completely different concepts. 1 million years ago, the sword god Houston took great pains to change the laws of the entire continent in order to prevent the immortal legion from making a comeback. You are more powerful than my king, as you can change the laws of this world. But if you are so powerful, how can you die in the end? What happened back then? The monster seemed to have thought of something from the conversation with Yunfan. He exclaimed in disbelief. Yunfan ignored his words, but stabbed out with a sword as fast as lightning. The divine sword Daolo quickly separated the air and formed a short vacuum. Demon sealing sword technique, death slaying. Yunfan's voice changed and the strength of his whole body burst out in an instant, cutting the monster in half. Chapter 355, Divine Sword Spirit. How is this possible? How can you use such a powerful force? Didn't you say that the world has been changed by you anyway? The monster's body swelled up, and his handsome face showed extreme shock, as if he had seen something impossible. However, Yunfan did not answer him, but stabbed the monster's head with a sword, as if he had smashed a hard gem, but it was still cut in the end. Then, the blood-colored power as thin as a gossamer was directly absorbed into his body by Yunfan through the Daolo sword. Very good, this destructive power is really a tonic. If I can get a certain amount of supplements, my rank will definitely be improved again. Yunfan stroked the Daolo sword and said to himself. Finally dead. I killed the 10th rank. The feeling of having power is really wonderful. Yunfan's true consciousness was reminiscing about the thrilling battle just now. Through this battle, he once again had a new understanding of power. Who are you? Yunfan communicated with the consciousness that occupied his body through mental power. Who am I? Of course I'm the sword god Houston, right? Didn't I make it very clear just now? That consciousness responded to Yunfan. No, you are not the sword god Houston at all. Your real identity is the sword god Houston's sword Daolo, right? That consciousness suddenly fell silent, and after a moment, he slowly asked, how did you find out? What do you mean you are the sword god Houston's sword Daolo? Yunfan still felt a little bit incredible. In fact, he didn't think about the Daolo sword at the beginning, but when he said that my grade would definitely be improved again, it gave Yunfan a very strange feeling. Are you going to occupy my body forever? Boy, don't talk about me so badly, okay? If it weren't for you, a nasty guy who caused trouble that you couldn't solve, I wouldn't borrow your body. You know, doing so would consume my own essence. Yunfan also breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, if the other party really wanted to occupy his body, he really didn't know if the world tree could help him get rid of the other party. Boy, you actually look down on the great sword god Daolo. Think about what kind of person I am. Sword god body Daolo? How could I snatch the body of a small person like you? I can't afford to lose face. Divine sword Daolo said very proudly. Forget it. I won't bother with a small person like you. The most important thing now is to solve the problem at hand. You mean to reinforce the seal? Do you know how to reinforce the seal? Of course I know. Besides, this seal was set up by me and the master, and it is not impossible to reinforce it. It's just that there are too many of these little mice, and I will be disturbed, even if I want to reinforce the seal. Little girl over there, help me stop these little mice temporarily, so that I can seal them. Yunfan stopped before he finished speaking, because he found something very interesting. Little girl, you actually have the breath and blood of Lilith on you, so you are the descendant of that little girl Lilith. Damn, so it seems that the little girl is plotting against me? Yunfan suddenly thought of something, and his face turned very ugly. Yes, Lord Daoluo, Lord Lilith asked me to say hello to you. Why didn't that little girl come and tell me in person? Little girl? Yunfan was secretly shocked. This Daoluo sword actually called a 1,000,000-year-old lady a little girl. How old should he be? Lady Lilith said that he can't leave the treehouse now, and if Lord Daoluo wants to wake up, he must be baptized by the power of destruction. He said that you will meet in the future, but not now. When did this little girl become so mysterious? Yunfan seemed to have suddenly thought of something, and his eyes widened in disbelief. Has that little girl really reached that point? She has gone even further than my master did back then. Forget it, these things are not something I can consider now. Little girl, get ready to start. The conversation between the two seemed to be heard by the 4 generals of the Immortal Legion who sealed the altar of Earth. He struggled as if to escape from the seal. He had been sealed for too long. The 4 generals felt that, if he was sealed for a while, he would definitely choose to destroy himself. The breath of destruction was pervasive, and the dark breath of destruction rolled and scattered everywhere, and condensed into various monsters of various colors, all kinds of strange and hideous destruction golems. Kara was surrounded by golden light like a god, dispelling the breath of destruction. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Damn bastard. You have already sealed me for 1,000,000 years. Do you want me to stay in the dark seal for another 1,000,000 years? Suddenly, the aura of destruction gathered violently in the middle, and condensed into an entity. This entity was a man in black clothes, with a nearly perfect body shape, long black hair fluttering in the wind, and especially a pair of eyes, full of endless evil spirit. His whole body was full of the aura of destruction, as if he wanted to destroy the whole world. This is one of the 4 generals of the Immortal Legion, the Avatar of Destruction. As soon as the Avatar appeared, Yunfan felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart, but Daoluo didn't care at all. Instead, he smiled and said, "You actually split our avatar directly. You should know how much damage it will cause to your original body once your avatar dies. I'm afraid your strength will never be able to recover to the peak." Facing the Avatar of Destruction, Daoluo was not afraid at all, as if there was nothing in the world that could make him change color, but Yunfan was a little frightened. "I don't care whether you are the Sword God Houston or not. Even if you are the Sword God Houston, what can it do? Your original body was destroyed 1,000,000 years ago. Even if you are alive, you are just lingering on. It will be difficult to deal with my clone." The destroyed clone sneered and said. The voice was like a mountain pressing down on his head. Boom. Although Yunfan remained calm, he was secretly anxious in his heart. His original body was too badly damaged after the last battle, and his power was seriously lost. Chapter 356 Repairing the Seal. Yunfan only felt that the ground beneath him suddenly shook, cracking into cracks, and the plains of several miles were cracked and collapsed everywhere. Especially the strong sound, like a violent storm, rushing fiercely. Such a powerful person, if it were me, I would not be able to contend with it at all. How strong is he? Yunfan thought in his heart, and was extremely afraid of the power of the Avatar of Pomi. Because this kind of power is not something Yunfan can contend with at all. In this case, I will see how much strength you still have. Pomi's tone was cold and terrifying. His whole body was flying in black clothes. Dark clouds were everywhere, and 2 black snakes chanted magic sounds. The breath turned into a snake. "I didn't expect that your Avatar of Pomi still has such power." Yunfan looked at the Avatar and laughed again. "To be honest, you are the most promising of the 4 generals under the Immortal King. Take my move to seal the world." While speaking, Yunfan made a move, and the Daoluo sword was like a meteor, or throw of destruction. Suddenly, the world was pitch black, and the breath of destruction filled the air. All the light disappeared in an instant. The whole world was empty and dark. Ji Yunfan felt that the world had turned into nothingness and the world was spinning. Although he felt that the sky was dark, an inexplicable emotion was rippling in Ji Yunfan's heart. Seal the demon world. In this darkness that seemed to be eternal, the steady voice of Ji Yunfan was suddenly heard. A sword light suddenly tore through the darkness, and a figure appeared in front of the destruction clone. It was Ji Yunfan himself. Seal the demon world again. I was defeated by this move back then. The destruction clone raised his head and saw Ji Yunfan appear in front of him. It was surrounded by thick darkness, but the sword light on her body dispelled his aura of destruction, and he gritted his teeth and said. Ji Yunfan's body stood straight, as if no magic could overwhelm his will. Pomi felt the momentum of Ji Yunfan's sharp sword blade to pierce the sky, and couldn't help but think of 1,000,000 years ago, and couldn't help but shudder in his heart. I can only suppress Pomi's clone temporarily. Daoluo's anxious voice came into Ji Yunfan's mind, and he still relies on his fear of me, so I can't suppress him for long. What should I do? What should I do? At this moment, Ji Yunfan suddenly felt a restlessness in his sea of consciousness, and then a mysterious power came out from the world tree. Seed. Seed. What? Ji Yunfan was a little confused. Could it be that? Ji Yunfan's mental power moved, and a bag of seeds suddenly appeared in Ji Yunfan's hand. Ji Yunfan threw the seeds lightly, and the seeds fell on the sealed altar after a suction. Including Pomi's clone, no one understood what Ji Yunfan wanted to do, of course, including Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan suddenly pointed his finger into the air, and then a strange wave came out from Ji Yunfan's hand. The seeds that were originally scattered actually grew wildly. Sword God, when did you become a wood magician? But what can you do with these useless seeds? The destruction clone sneered, as if he had encountered something funny. However, the sneer of the destruction clone did not last too long. Destruction screamed in disbelief. Impossible. How is this possible? This plant actually absorbs the power of destruction to strengthen the seal. How is this possible? You must know that, if this situation continues, the seal altar may be repaired by Ji Yunfan. It is unknown how many years it will take for his body to come out of the seal. This is something he cannot tolerate. Destroy and kill gods. Subvert the world. Destruction's face is ferocious. One palm stands upright in front of his chest, and a big knife condensed from a grey destructive force as thick as a bucket slashes fiercely, slashing towards Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan's Daoluo divine sword gathered towards the center, and immediately wanted to block the knife of destruction. Seal the demons. Ji Yunfan suddenly closed his eyes, as if he was gathering strength. After a breath, he suddenly opened his eyes, and a powerful wave of fighting spirit suddenly exploded, turning into thousands of rotating sword blades. The blade lights seemed to contain everything. The destructive aura of destruction was torn into a big hole by Ji Yunfan's sword. With this tear, a ray of light suddenly appeared in the destructive aura, and the whole world was restored to light again. The seal altar was completely repaired, and the destruction clone roared with deep reluctance. Why, damn it, why? Ji Yunfan seized the opportunity and shuffled through this ray of light, slashing the destruction clone with a sword. The clone was seriously injured after being hit, but both Daoluo Sword and Ji Yunfan knew that, although the other party was injured, it was impossible to kill the other party, and Ji Yunfan felt that the power of Daoluo Sword was slowly fading, and it seemed that it could no longer support him to fight for a long time. Ji Yunfan suddenly grabbed Kara and disappeared with a flash. A thunderous roar came from the sealed altar. The destruction clone waved his sleeves, and the aura of destruction in the sky dissipated instantly, and the world returned to peace. My lord, those two guys ran away. Aren't you going to chase them down yourself? An elf standing next to the destruction clone said hurriedly. What a quick-witted little guy. He is not the sword god Houston at all. I was deceived by him. The destruction clone said angrily. Besides, my real body is still under the sealed altar, and this clone can't spare much power. But since he dared to ruin my good deeds, I will definitely not forgive him. There is a long way to go. Congratulations, Lord Destruction. You finally separated an avatar from the seal. As long as your avatar absorbs enough destructive power, it will only be a matter of time to rescue the real body. A girl stood next to the destruction clone. She had a human body, but there was a big white fluffy tail behind her buttocks, sweeping back and forth, like the legendary vixen. This was the fox tribe among the orcs, one of the followers of destruction. The mortal realm is the 10th level, and the gods still have a long way to go before they can reach the legendary realm. What did the immortal king do wrong back then? The destruction clone waved his hand and actually tore the space apart, disappearing with the remaining followers. When my god returns, we will reach the other shore. This other shore is not the other shore organization that Yunfan joined, but a brand new world. Chapter 357, The Origin of the Immortal King. Have we escaped from the sealed altar? What is this place? A green light cut through the sky and landed on a tall sand dune, revealing two figures, Yunfan and Kara. Although the avatar of destruction escaped from the sealed altar, fortunately the seal has been reinforced, and our avatar of destruction should not cause too much trouble. Yunfan said uncertainly. There is nothing we can do about it. Lady Lilith never expected that there would be a traitor in our clan. Kara gritted her teeth and said, by the way, what happened just now? Why did you use such a special sealing method? This is my secret, so I can't tell you. Yunfan shook his head. The secret of the world tree is too big, and Yunfan dare not guarantee that the elves will not be tempted. Is the sword god still alive? Kara suddenly said. I don't know. Didn't you let the sword god descend into your body just now? How come you don't know? That's not the sword god, but it. Yunfan pointed to the Daoluo divine sword in his hand. You mean the sword spirit of the Daoluo sword? Does the sword spirit really exist? Kara asked curiously. That should be correct. Forget it. Let's leave here quickly and tell Lady Lilith what happened here so that he can prepare in advance. Yunfan said. However, before Yunfan finished speaking, Yunfan suddenly felt a piercing pain, and then Yunfan couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. It hurts so much. This is the result of forcibly using power beyond the endurance of one's body. I didn't expect that a small clone of destruction is so powerful. I finally know how powerful the destruction clan is. I'm afraid you are the only one who can fight against the masters of the destruction clan at the 7th level. Sakadin said. Dante, are you seriously injured? Kara asked hurriedly when she saw Yunfan's expression. I used power beyond my tolerance. Yunfan smiled bitterly. It's okay. I'll circulate my Dao Ki first to repair the veins in my body. The Dao Ki I practiced is special and has a strong recovery ability, but it will take some time. I hope you can help me protect the law. Yunfan sighed and looked at Kara. While speaking, Yunfan closed his eyes, and the green hair on his body condensed into a large green cocoon. His body was wrapped in the cocoon, and the green light was hovering outside. Such a strong vitality. What kind of powerful Dao Ki Kung Fu is being practiced? The sword god sealing demon Dao Ki should not be like this. Forget it. I will help him protect the law first. Kara shook her head slightly and said to herself. You are finally back. There is actually no way to put you in danger. It's just that I didn't expect that those little guys were so disappointing that they chose to join the destruction clan. Yunfan and Kara returned to the elves' residence and told Lilith about the sealed forbidden land. Lilith said with a slight apology. This matter is not the fault of Lady Lilith at all. It's just that the destruction clone seems to have escaped from here. Kara said with a somewhat ugly face. Hey, the destruction clone has escaped from the seal. I'm afraid that the other destruction clan sealed on the continent will also break the seal and escape. The continent has been peaceful for 1 million years, and I'm afraid it will be broken. In order to improve their own strength, the destruction clan will definitely cause chaos in the entire continent and launch a war. I don't know whether the continent will be reborn or destroyed in the end. The former elf goddess Lilith said in a sad tone. Lady Lilith. Is there really no way to solve this matter? Kara asked with a worried look on her face. Everything in the world has cause and effect. What will be the fate of the continent? It is in the hands of all the races on the continent. The former elf goddess Lilith shook her head slightly, her eyes extremely deep. Maybe you don't know, the immortal king was once a partner of me and the sword god Houston. How is this possible? The old Lilith suddenly said something that made Yunfan and Kara feel very incredible, as if it was a fairy tale. Everyone on the continent knew that the elf goddess Lilith and the sword god Houston were heroes who fought against the immortal king together. How could they be friends and partners with the immortal king? Nothing is impossible. At that time, he was not the immortal king. I was just an ordinary elf from the elves, not an elf goddess. Houston was not the so-called sword god, but just a swordsman with superb swordsmanship. There was also Kilton from the dwarves, Lafassi from the dragons, and Mifia. The old elf Lilith said slowly. Sabia and Mifia were a couple. Oh, by the way, Sabia is the name of the immortal king you are talking about now. At that time, we agreed to go on an adventure together. We formed a mercenary team. Sabia was the captain of our mercenary team. At that time, he took care of us like an elder brother. Do you know what Sabia's dream was? Yunfan and Kara shook their heads. Is his dream at that time to destroy the continent? No, at that time, Sabia's dream was to be a ranger, to accompany Mifia to travel the world and do justice. The old elf Lilith said lightly. This is impossible. Yunfan looked at Lilith in disbelief. Don't you think it's ironic? A man who once aspired to be a chivalrous knight ended up becoming an immortal king who wanted to destroy the entire continent? The old elf Lilith said with a deep gaze. Did something irreversible happen? Yunfan seemed to have thought of something. You're right. When we were trying to kill a dragon, it cursed her at the cost of his life. The curse was originally meant for Sabia, but Mifia did use her body to block Sabia, and finally the curse that the dragon released at the cost of its life hit Mifia. In order to remove the curse on Mifia, Sabia and I traveled almost all over the continent. But we have gained nothing. Until one day, a very evil guy appeared in front of Sabia. He told Sabia that he had a way to save Mifia, but the prerequisite was to join them. Does that mean Sabia joined them? Yes, they told Sabia that only by condensing enough destructive power can they forge a destructive gem and remove the power of the curse. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358, Destruction Gem. Destruction Gem. What is that? But judging from the name alone, it must not be a good thing. Yunfan curled his lips. That Sabia guy actually believed it. Yunfan didn't know how to evaluate the immortal king for a moment. He said he was cold-blooded and heartless, and he fell for his lover. He said she was very affectionate. Just to save one person, he didn't know how many people he killed. Destruction Gem is not something you can touch now, and you must remember that no matter where and when you encounter the Destruction Gem, you must find a way to destroy it. Such a thing should not exist in this world. The old elf Lilith said in a very serious tone. After calculating the time, Yunfan found that he had been in the elves for nearly half a month, and he didn't know what the situation was in his fiefdom. Because of the presence of those old people, Yunfan expected that there would be no major changes. However, Grom on the west coast was the first fiefdom after he came to this world. It had extraordinary significance for Yunfan, so after a few days of rest, Yunfan resigned to the old elf Lilith. The old elf Lilith did not want to keep Yunfan, and directly handed Yunfan a leaf, asking him to keep it well. If he really encountered any trouble that could not be solved, he could tear up the leaf and return to the elf's residence. Yunfan was naturally very happy to get a means to save his life, and hurriedly thanked the old elf Lilith. Then Lilith directly teleported Yunfan to the location of the barrier. Yunfan came to the location of the barrier, and soon left the forest. Brother, let me ask you, do you know how to get to Argamon City? After walking for half a day, Yunfan met a few adventurers. Why do you want to go to Argamon? I advise you not to go. You are fighting now, and many people have escaped from Argamon. Now the safest place in the entire empire is West Coast Grom. There is a saint there, and even the army of the Oroba Empire suffered a great loss there. The leading adventurer said. Has West Coast Grom developed to this point? Yunfan was slightly surprised when he heard the other party mention West Coast Grom. Of course, the owner of West Coast Grom is a very mysterious person. Why do you think so? Yunfan asked curiously. It has always been a mysterious dragon, and there is a saint guarding there. Doesn't this show that the owner of West Coast Grom is a mysterious person? Besides, who on the continent doesn't know the existence of magic guns and magic cannons now? The adventurer looked like an idiot. So that's how it is. Yunfan nodded. Thank you for clearing up my confusion. Second, I never thought about it before, but now I feel that this war is very strange, as if someone is pushing it from behind. Yunfan frowned slightly and said, are you saying that this time it might be the Bone Cult or the Destruction Clan that is pushing it? Sakuden said softly, it is very likely. Didn't Lady Lilith say so? The Destruction Clan relies on launching wars and things to gain power. Every time they appear, they will cause chaos and use war to improve their strength. If it is really as you said, then it will be really troublesome. You know, it is much easier to provoke a war than peace. Forget it, these things are not something I can think about. If the sky falls, won't there be someone taller there to hold it up? I just need to manage my fiefdom well. If they don't come to provoke me, I won't provoke them. Yunfan, I think you think about things too simply. You have underestimated the determination of the Destruction Clan. In order to improve their own strength, their goal is to destroy the entire continent. In that case, the only way is to find a way to improve the strength of the fiefdom. Yunfan sighed slightly. He decided to focus his research on magic weapons. After asking about his location, Yunfan decided to go to the nearest town for supplies and use his identity as a member of the other shore to get some information. To be honest, the life in the elves for the past half month made him feel like he was in another world. The war destroyed many towns, and many places have become depressed. Half an hour later, Yunfan entered Manga, the nearest city to him. This is a much smaller city than Argamon City, and the size of the city is not much different from his own West Coast Grom. Yunfan quickly used his shadow magic to understand the general situation in the city, and then he went directly to a stronghold of the other shore. There is a huge manor in the north of the city. After Yunfan arrived with the identity card of the other shore, which symbolized his identity, he was unable to detect anything special from the outside. He knocked on the iron door with the identity card. After a long time, a thin young man opened the door. He first looked at Yunfan's whole body and found that he had never seen Yunfan before. Then he asked unfriendlily, who are you? Who are you looking for? Yunfan didn't say much, but took out the identity token and handed it to the young man. The young man took the identity token and took a look. He found that the level on the token was already the captain level, which was one level higher than his own level. His face changed slightly. He stepped aside to let Yunfan enter the yard. After Yunfan came in, the young man handed the identity token to Yunfan and asked with a little scrutiny, I wonder who this captain is? I have never seen you before. Who is responsible for you? When following the young man inside, Yunfan did not find any special barriers or mechanisms in the yard, which surprised Han Shuo. When he looked around more carefully, he answered casually, Master Rudolph. What? Are you sure? You are directly responsible for Master Rudolph? The young man was obviously surprised and asked with a light cry. Yunfan's words had to surprise the young man. You know, Rudolph's identity is very special. His Majesty's teacher, the founder of the Beyond Shore organization, can be said to be the top leader of the Beyond Shore. Nodding, Yunfan asked in confusion, yes, is there any problem with this? Chapter 359 All crows are black. Is there a problem with how I call my lord? This is a big problem. Do you know the identity of Lord Rudolph? He is your Majesty's teacher and the real ruler of the other side. In the entire empire, Lord Rudolph can directly mobilize the military forces of each city, and he can also kill ordinary nobles and officers directly without asking your Majesty for his opinion. You, a captain, actually obey the orders of Lord Rudolph? Yunfan shrugged and said, what's the matter? Anyway, he issued the induction tasks to me. I came here this time just to ask you, what's the situation in Grom on the west coast now? Also, I observed that this secret base seems to have no defense force. What's going on? Grom on the west coast, except that we know that its owner is Viscount Dante. We don't know anything else. How is it possible that you don't know anything? Our other side is the largest spy agency in the empire, right? That's true, but West Coast Grom is too special. We have no way to infiltrate them. Later, Lord Rudolph personally ordered us not to interfere with the development of West Coast Grom. The young man explained. So that's what happened. Yunfan nodded slightly. As for the defensive power you mentioned, it is said that the most dangerous place is also the safest place. The less defense there is, the less people will notice it. The young man explained. That makes sense. By the way, how is the army of the Ouroboros Empire now? Yunfan asked. I don't know what's going on with the army of the Ouroboros Empire. They are all like hormones. The situation of our empire is very bad. After traveling for a distance in this manner, Yunfan learned that the young man's name was Lu, and he was a member of the other Shur at the level of a small captain. From him, Yunfan also learned some information about the other Shur organization, and had a certain understanding of what happened on the mainland in the past half-month. Many enemy spies were caught in the nobles and the army of the empire, which made the high-level officials of the empire very angry. During the conversation, Yunfan heard that the underground had planned to appoint him as an inspector, specifically responsible for arresting spies in the army and the high-level officials, but with his disappearance, it was finally left unresolved. Even later, the Holy See intervened in the dispute between the two countries, but the attitude of the Holy See has always been very ambiguous. Those guys from the Light Department are probably trying to take advantage of the situation and harvest a wave of faith. You must know that these guys are sacred on the surface, but in fact, they are very dirty in their bones. Sakuden said disdainfully. Yunfan curled his lips. All crows are black, and the Dark Department is probably not much better. If the first church on the continent is the Dark Church now, it is estimated that after leaving the other side base, Yunfan decided to return to the small town of Grom on the west bank, the edge of the forest outside the city. Yunfan took on an escort mission for a small chamber of commerce with his mercenary status. The destination of the small chamber of commerce was the small town of Grom on the west coast. Yunfan used a little money to buy a tamed horse beast. The horse beast looked like a horse on earth, with faint patterns on its body and horns on its head. It was a gentle monster. It could cross mountains and ridges, as if walking on flat ground, and it was extremely fast. It was an excellent mount. With Yunfan's current status, using such a mount was considered very low-key. Yunfan couldn't help but sigh. If he had known earlier, he would have taken the Wolf King mount. Yunfan had nothing to do, and he looked back, looking at Manga from afar. The city had slowly become smaller. Let's go. A person in charge of the small chamber of commerce shouted, you must pay more attention to safety. It's not peaceful during this period. He hit the horse beast's abdomen with his heel, and the horse beast immediately jumped out and ran away. The small chamber of commerce did not just invite Yunfan to protect safety, but other mercenaries also rode horse beasts to follow. In a forest covered with weeds, dozens of men in ordinary hunter clothes were marching happily. More than half of them were carrying loads on which hung the prey they had hunted. The prey were wild beasts, which were different from magical beasts. Even the lowest level magical beasts were much stronger than wild beasts. Uncle Zuka, one of the young boys who looked immature and held a stone spear, said excitedly, you refused to take me to Milo before, saying how dangerous Milo was. But this time, there is no danger at all. We can catch so many prey, enough for our village to eat for a long time. A sturdy man beside him smiled and said, Ada, we are lucky. This time when we went to Milo, not only did we not encounter two powerful monsters, but most importantly, we did not encounter fierce soldiers. No one from the tribe died, which is very rare. But you can't underestimate Milo because of this. Milo is one of the few places where monsters gather in the land with a radius of tens of thousands of miles. Of course, the wild beasts in Milo are endless. Ada, don't take it lightly. Walk a few more times and you will know how dangerous it is. You must train well when you go back. Only if you are strong can you live longer. The man with a scar next to him also said with a smile. Ada, you are not a kid anymore. You should find a wife when you go back this time. Otherwise, you will disappoint your father's hope for you. Several men teased a shy boy. At this time, a python more than 10 meters long was lurking in the lush thorn bushes not far away. It had smooth scales, a soft body, and looked like a dragon. Its eyes were faintly green. It was waiting for food to be delivered to its door. This small group of hunters had been targeted by it. It was waiting for an opportunity to easily hunt down this group of people. You all bully me. Ada blushed and shouted. You are really a child. You are so shameless. Several men laughed. It seemed to be their pleasure to tease this boy. At this time, hiss, a huge black shadow suddenly rushed out and pounced directly on the boy holding a spear who was walking at the edge. It's a monster. The leading man turned pale when he saw the huge figure rushing over. Be careful, this is a withered vine python, a rare and difficult monster in the Milo jungle. The leading man roared and thrust the spear forward quickly. He had been hunting for decades and knew the characteristics of common monsters. Puff. However, the tail of the huge black shadow lightly hit the stone spear, causing it to tilt to the side. Damn it, hurry up and don't hold back. Kill. Chapter 360 leading the way. Several hunters around roared and thrust out their stone spears. As a small village, there were no advanced warriors, let alone magicians. In addition, due to poverty, there was no money to buy too many weapons, so long weapons such as stone spears and stone guns were loved by many people. They only needed to practice simple movements such as stabbing and intercepting every day. After decades of hard practice, their power would be extraordinary. With a flick of the tail, the stone spears in the hands of several hunters were knocked out, and the huge black shadow jumped lightly and pounced on the leader of the group. These hunters often go to Milo to hunt, and they have planned the route back. Generally, it is impossible to encounter powerful monsters, and they rarely encounter danger, but they are still very cautious. It's the sky swallowing python. The leading man shouted, be careful. As he said that, he waved a single knife and rushed towards the sky swallowing python. Evil beast, die. The young man who was originally standing at the back also waved a long-handled giant axe and pounced on the sky swallowing python, not as shy as he was at the beginning. Kill. Several people were crazy. The sky swallowing python is only good for ordinary strong men, but it is a great threat to these ordinary people. These hunters are pale, and just a sweep of the tail makes them all understand. This sky swallowing python is not something they can contend with. Maybe a few people will die today, and the worst, maybe the whole army is annihilated. Hiss, hiss. The sky swallowing python roared again, unlike the previous one that just touched and left, and began to attack frantically. Snap, snap. The giant tail swept the ground one after another, and the boy was directly shocked and flew away, and the leading hunter was also roaring and slashing the stone axe with a sullen look. The sky swallowing python obviously regarded the leading hunter in front of him as the most threatening one, and no longer paid attention to others. It went straight to the leader again, and it swung its tail again, and the giant tail directly hit the stone axe. The stone axe was not sharp, and could not break the scales of the sky swallowing python at all. The claws slapped on the giant axe. Uncle! The young man Ada shouted in shock. Everyone was panicking. Chief! At this moment, swoosh! A cyan light streaked across the sky like a meteor, passing through a long distance, instantly passing through the head of the sky swallowing python, and then hitting a tree that only one person could hug. The sky swallowing python fell to the ground without even struggling. The hunter leader fell to the ground, and the sky swallowing python's huge body fell on him, and blood was all over the hunter's face. Uncle! The young boy Ada quickly came to the side of the leader hunter. Don't worry, I'm fine. The hunter leader pushed the sky swallowing python's body and stood up, wiping his face at the same time. This is not my blood, it's the sky swallowing python's blood. Several hunters who followed closely also came over and took a look. Looking at the sky swallowing python's body and then looking at the thick tree next to it, their pupils shrank, and they said in a low voice, this is high level magic, at least level 4. It's too scary. And the sky swallowing python was hit by an arrow when it pounced. This magic is also, it seems to be a very powerful magician, whose strength is beyond imagination. Several people looked in one direction involuntarily. Not bad. After looking at the sky swallowing python's body, the hunter men looked into the distance. From the direction of the magic, they determined the approximate direction of the magician. At this time, everyone saw a group of people and horses coming slowly from one direction. These hunters quickly saw clearly that several adventurers riding horses were walking on flat ground in the rugged mountains and forests, and soon arrived in front of this group of men. Looking at the people in front of them, the group of hunter men were stunned. The people riding the horse beasts were also wearing exquisite magician robes, but the one in the front was a handsome boy, followed by many people. According to common sense, merchants generally do not meddle in other people's business. They were a little confused as to why the merchants would help them. They naturally did not know that it was only Yunfan who helped them, representing his personal will. Because of his sudden action, the person in charge of the Chamber of Commerce was very angry and wanted to deduct Yunfan's labor remuneration. Yunfan turned over and got off the horse beast, walked to the leader of the group of hunters, and asked, "What are we doing here?" "Thank you, adventurer, for saving our lives just now. We are the hunting team in the village. We came out just to hunt some wild animals so that we can sell their skins and meat for some money." The leading hunter came to Yunfan and said respectfully. Yunfan nodded slightly, as if responding to the words of the leader hunter. "Are any of you familiar with the road to Grom City on the west coast?" Yunfan asked directly. A group of hunters looked at each other with puzzled expressions. To be honest, they were not unfamiliar with the west coast Grom City. They had heard many people mention it before, but most people were at a loss as to the way to get there. It was now known as the safest place in the empire, and these hunters were actually very curious about it. "If you know how to get to the west coast Grom City and lead the way for us, I will pay you 10 gold coins as a reward. I wonder if you are willing." At this time, a leader of the caravan suddenly came out and said to the hunters, "I have been there before, but it is said that it has changed now. If you want to go to the west coast Grom City, I'm very willing to lead you." The leading hunter said, "Very good." The person in charge of the Chamber of Commerce smiled slightly, casually took out 5 gold coins, and threw them over. "Just come with me. These 5 gold coins are considered a deposit, and I will not treat you unfairly when we get there." The leading hunter's eyes lit up immediately after getting the gold coins. These gold coins are enough for their family to live on for a long time, and enough for his children to solve the temporary problem of food and clothing. You know, since the war, these poor people have almost no food to eat, and living has become a luxury for them. Otherwise, they would not come here to be a hunter. God knows what strange things they will encounter, and they may lose their lives if they are not careful. After thinking for a while, he handed the 5 gold coins to a middle-aged man next to her. "Diggerman, please take it back for my eldest son. If I die, you can help me take care of my baby." "Brother, have you really thought about it?" a middle-aged man next to the man said. Chapter 361 Leading the Way. "Of course I have thought it through a long time ago. Now we are in a chaotic world. God knows what will happen tomorrow." "Okay, I promise you." The man nodded in response. "In that case, tell me what your name is?" asked the head of the caravan. "Respected sir, you can call me Zika," the man said respectfully. "Zika, in that case, you should lead the way well. There is a horse beast here. You can ride this horse beast." The head of the Chamber of Commerce pointed to a horse beast next to it and said to an unridden horse beast next to it, "Thank you, sir." Zika held his breath and rode on the horse beast carefully. Although this kind of horse mount is nothing to a cultivator, it is no less than a gift for Zika, who is a hunter. He has not ridden such a good mount yet, or he has never ridden a mount before. "In that case, then you should lead the way," the head of the Chamber of Commerce said. "Okay, sir, I will lead the way." With the order of the head of the Chamber of Commerce, Zika hurriedly drove the horse. Yunfan and the group of people from the Chamber of Commerce rode on horses and quickly disappeared into the forest. "Uncle," the young adder asked anxiously, "will it be dangerous for Uncle Zika to lead the way?" The second in command of the hunter team nodded and said, "It shouldn't be dangerous, right?" The middle-aged man seemed a little unsure. "They are different from us. We have been staying in the village and have been disconnected from the outside world. These people should not be bad people. Besides, 10 gold coins are nothing in front of these adults." "I hope so. Otherwise, what should the uncle's children do?" The young adder couldn't help but worry. "Adder, don't think too much. Since Zika has chosen this path, he will go all the way to the end." The middle-aged man sighed and said, "You know, Zika almost Forget it, let's not say more about this matter. The middle-aged man seemed to think of something and suddenly stopped talking. To be honest, that boy was really amazing. He looked not much older than me, but he was so much more powerful than me. Ada seemed to think of the situation when Yunfan just attacked and couldn't help but exclaimed, "The world is unfair. Some people are born rich, while others are born poor. The boy doesn't look like an adventurer. Maybe he is a young master from a big family?" The middle-aged man couldn't help shaking his head. "I don't think that boy looks like a noble son. Those noble sons never take us seriously. I'm afraid that, even if we died just now, those nobles would not attack. I'm afraid that in the eyes of those people, we are just low-class people." Ada disagreed and couldn't help but objected. "What you said does make some sense, but it doesn't make much sense for us to discuss the identity of that young man here. Forget it, let's go back now. Tell Sika's relatives what happened." To be honest, the people in this caravan are quite respectful, otherwise they wouldn't have paid 5 gold coins in advance. The middle-aged man shook the gold coins in his hand involuntarily and said, "TSK, uncle, you are still speaking well of that chamber of commerce? All merchants in the world are cunning and will not do anything without profit. As for our man, I'm afraid he is not from their chamber of commerce." The young man sighed. Just now, the sky-swallowing python suddenly attacked. If that young man hadn't taken action, we would have lost a few people, and I would have been the first one to die. Who cares if that young man is a member of the Chamber of Commerce or not? They saved our lives, and you, Sika, had to go over to help guide us, even if you knew you were going to die. What's more, the person in charge also gave us 5 gold coins. Have you forgotten that Sika once told us that we were going to move to Grom City on the west coast? Now he is going over to lead the way, so it's a good time to go and investigate. The middle-aged man was talking, and suddenly his eyes lit up, as if he had thought of something. Quick, quick, quick. Divide the body of the sky-swallowing python, and carry it back. This thing is a 4-section monster. For them, it's nothing, but for us, it's a good harvest. Hurry up and act quickly. It will be bad if someone comes. One by one, they drew their knives, and swung their stone axes, quickly dividing the body of the sky-swallowing python, and then set out on their way home. The caravan began to move forward again. Yunfan and Sika and several others, led by Sika, quickly found the right direction, and rushed out of the edge of the forest. "Look." Sika pointed to the front. "The front is the city of Kibaya. If you need anything, you can stop here first to prepare." Kibaya City. Several people looked in the direction Sika pointed involuntarily. In the distance, there was an endless dense forest outside, a vast stream, surrounded by tall and towering city walls, and beautiful colors under the spring sunshine. Even at a glance, you can see some birds sometimes swooping and grabbing fish, and you can also see some huge fish clans swinging their tails in the lush water plants, and a giant old turtle popping out from time to time. Kibaya City, if it weren't for the fact that there is no Grom City on the west coast here, the president would have decided to build a branch here. The head of the Chamber of Commerce couldn't help but say as he looked at the city wall. Kibaya City is located at the junction of the 3 empires. There are occasional frictions among the 3 empires, but they will restrain themselves. It can be said that it is the economic exchange center of the 3 empires. This is an extremely special existence. There is no so-called city lord, nor does it belong to a certain empire. People of the free forces like to stay here. There are thousands of miles of vast mountains and forests outside Kibaya City, which can completely compare to the vast mountains and forests of a province in the previous life. Such a large city. Of course, many people from the 3 countries have gathered here. Since Yunfan left Grom City on the west coast and saw the strength of the enemy's army, Yunfan's style of doing things outside has changed. He dare not underestimate anyone. Some guys hide themselves very deeply. Maybe he can meet someone who knows him here. Dante Adventurer, to be honest, your name is exactly the same as the name of the city lord of Grom City on the west coast. Just when Yunfan was doing nothing, the head of the Chamber of Commerce suddenly came over and said to him, "Has the head of the Chamber of Commerce discovered my identity? But this should be impossible." Yunfan couldn't help but shook his head slightly and then said, "There are so many people on the mainland, it's easy to find someone with the same name and surname, isn't it?" Chapter 362 Map. That's true. I don't know how long this war will last, and I really don't know why they started this war. Stop for a moment. After walking for an unknown amount of time, Kuska suddenly stopped and walked to the head of the caravan and said, "Sir, there is the Hickory Mountains ahead. There are many monsters. It's too dangerous." Hickory Mountains? The head of the caravan frowned slightly. He had heard of the Hickory Mountains and knew the dangers of the Hickory Mountains. Is there any other way to go? Yes, but it takes a long detour and takes 3 to 5 days. Kuska responded. It takes so long. The head of the caravan pondered for a moment. Have you been to the Hickory Mountains? Yes, sir, I have been there once. In that case, then you lead the way, and I will pay you more. The head of the caravan took out a bag of gold coins and handed it to Kuska while speaking. Kuska shook the person then nodded. The landforms of the Hickory Mountains are very complex, Kuska said as he led the way. There are giant trees that are hundreds or even thousands of years old. Of course, there are also swamps. This place is very evil. If you are not careful, you may sink into it. There are also some large and small rivers. The roads in the Hickory Mountains are difficult to walk. Kuska led the way in front, and the caravan and Yunfan followed behind him. Our village has lived in the Hickory Mountains for quite some time. We often hunt here. Although we have always been on the periphery, we are still very familiar with the Hickory Mountains. We know which roads can be taken and which cannot be taken, Kuska said. Trampling on the mountain road, the caravan and Yunfan followed the hunter into the Hickory Mountains. Look. Kuska took out a piece of animal skin paper from his arms and handed it over. This is the map of the Hickory Mountains. We will go through this route. Yunfan and the head of the Chamber of Commerce nodded slightly. It seems that this map has been around for some time. What are these circled places? Yunfan asked curiously. Kuska was shocked when he saw it. These are all places where powerful monsters lurk. They are the most dangerous places. We never dare to approach them. This map is very comprehensive, and it is very old. I'm afraid there are still secrets in this map. Sakadan's voice suddenly sounded. Secrets? Yunfan frowned slightly. What other secrets can there be? Yunfan couldn't help but take another look at the map. Because of his photographic memory, Yunfan quickly memorized the contents of the map. The Hickory Mountains are not small. It would be very slow to move forward on 2 legs. There are many strange landforms in the mountains. The winding road is thousands of miles long. Fortunately, with the guidance of Kuska who is familiar with the road, we can move forward easily. 3 or 4 days have passed in a blink of an eye. The caravan moved forward slowly. Yunfan and his companions traveled during the day and practiced at night. When they reached the marked place, Yunfan would go out to explore at night. What made Yunfan feel a little uneasy was that several of the shadow demons he released never returned. Yunfan carried food and drink in his space ring. He also roasted some monster meat with other people in the Chamber of Commerce. Yunfan was not in a hurry to explore too much, but just determined the location first. These places are really mysterious. There must be some amazing secrets. But now is not the time to explore. Let me go back first and see what the fiefdom is like. Kuska pointed to the distance. The lush water plants that were about 10 feet high in the distance swayed in the wind. This is where we leave Hickory. Can you sell me a copy of the map? When leaving the Hickory Mountains, the head of the Chamber of Commerce asked Kuska solemnly. I'm sorry, sir. This map has been passed down from our ancestors. I'm sorry. Kuska refused. That's fine, but if you're ready to sell this map, you can come to me. The head of the Chamber of Commerce said seriously. It seemed that he had already realized the specialness of this map, although he didn't know its true value. Okay, let's hurry up and go. As long as we can get to the place, I will definitely reward you handsomely. The head of the Chamber of Commerce changed the subject and said. Your Excellency has given me enough. Zakalian said. There is no free lunch in the world. He still understands this truth. The heads of the Chamber of Commerce usually put the interests of the Chamber of Commerce first. If he doesn't know what's good for him and asks for the benefits of the other party, he may get into trouble. Moreover, this Chamber of Commerce doesn't seem to be as simple as it seems. In the past few days, the Chamber of Commerce has suffered a lot of attacks from monsters, which were all solved by the guards and mercenaries of the Chamber of Commerce. Most of the monster meat was divided by these mercenaries. The people of the Chamber of Commerce even turned a blind eye to this, which is not in the interests of the Chamber of Commerce at all. Therefore, this Chamber of Commerce is a Chamber of Commerce on the surface, and its real purpose should be to cover up the true identity of the Chamber of Commerce. Decades of survival experience have taught Zuka that the more you understand something, the less good it will do you. So Zuka stays away from this Chamber of Commerce. Just as everyone sorted out and prepared to move forward again, Yunfan and the head of the Chamber of Commerce suddenly looked into the distance. Hurry up. Zuka also looked in that direction with the two people's eyes, but was startled and turned around to escape. A group of people came from a distance. One of them was wearing silver white armor and was running whistling. Following closely behind him were soldiers wearing light armor. They were so fast that they directly blocked the Chamber of Commerce's road. Who are you? Why are you here? The man in silver white armor glanced coldly, paused for a moment on Yunfan, and then didn't care. Follow us. I don't know what you want us to do. Zuka saw that the other party was a soldier, and even bowed and asked respectfully. Hurry up. If we tell you to follow us, follow us. Otherwise, you will die here. These soldiers all looked indifferent and held weapons, obviously well trained. Which country do these soldiers belong to? Yunfan couldn't help but mutter. Everyone's eyes were on the head of the Chamber of Commerce, waiting for him to make a decision. Seeing the other party's dress and attitude, the head of the Chamber of Commerce frowned involuntarily. To be honest, he had something important to do, so he didn't want to waste time here. Where are you soldiers from? Do I need to tell you where we are soldiers from? Just follow us obediently, don't force us to do anything. The identities of these guys in front of him were definitely very suspicious. If he had a rash conflict, it might affect his plan. Chapter 363 Evil. But why did these soldiers take them away? If it was not necessary, he did not want to kill them easily. Let's follow him and see what happens. Let's go. Hurry up. So under the gaze of more than 10 soldiers, Yunfan and these soldiers walked towards the distance. They did not walk for long before they came to a hill. They saw that hundreds of people were gathered on the hill at this moment. A large number of people were lying there with their hands and feet tied. There were about 100 soldiers standing around. In the center was a burly and tall man. The man was about 10 feet tall, wearing heavy armor, and his eyes were extremely domineering. Yunfan was shocked and looked at the man sitting in the center, because this man was not someone else, but Jekus Beru, who betrayed from the Western Legion, and the momentum exuded by this guy was much stronger than at the beginning. Yunfan even felt the faint power of the saint in him. It seemed that the other party had found a way to break through the saint level. How could this guy suddenly appear in this place? Yunfan was full of doubts. The opponent's strength had increased so much. If he acted rashly, he would have absolutely no chance of winning. Tie them all up and wait for the adult's judgment. Jaksaberu said expressionlessly. This guy's not the real leader yet, so who is the real leader? Yunfan was full of doubts and carefully hid his identity. Although Jaksaberu saw Yunfan and felt that he was vaguely familiar, he frowned slightly, but did not think about him. No, there is a very special breath on him. If this breath is not mistaken, it should be the breath of the destruction of aliens. Yunfan suddenly thought of something, and his face changed slightly. Since meeting the Destruction Clan, Yunfan has a deep understanding of the breath of the Destruction Clan. The feeling is like meeting a natural enemy. It's either you die or I die. Yunfan, of course, didn't think that destruction and creation are two completely contradictory forces. The world tree on Yunfan represents the power of creation. Uncle Zuka. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the crowd of tied people. Zuka, who was walking on the side with Yunfan, turned his head and looked in the direction where the voice came from. He saw that among the tied people, more than 10 people were lying there and shouting. This made Zuka look anxious. Calden, why are you tied here? Those dozen people were all from the same village as him. Zuka, why are you here too? These people are all demons, and will eat us one by one. One of the tied villagers shouted anxiously. Are they all demons? Sika was suddenly shocked and said in disbelief, "Aren't they all soldiers? How could they be demons?" Yunfan was looking at Jaxaberu, who was sitting in the center surrounded by a group of soldiers in the distance. If you look closely, you can see that Jaxaberu has a hideous face and blood on his mouth, and he is chewing with satisfaction. This made Yunfan feel murderous. It seems that this guy can no longer be called a human being. The Destruction Clan is indeed an extremely terrifying existence. They dare to eat people. Shut up. A soldier walked over and kicked the Tide people, kicking them madly. Shut up, everyone. This demon devoured our friends and asked us to shut up. Are you still a human being? Have you become a demon too? The Tide people asked angrily. Which empire are you from? How can you be so cruel? Are you also demons? Stop. Jaxaberu, who was sitting on a large stone chair, said in a low voice, like the sound of a bullhorn. If you accidentally kill them all, they will not taste good, and I will eat you. The soldier looked at Jaxaberu and could only retreat unwillingly. Master Jaxaberu, the leader of the group of soldiers, said in a low voice, "We have captured more than 100 people for you. Our team has tried our best to capture them. Now the people in their empire have noticed this place. If this continues, they will definitely find out, and then everything will be over." What is going on with Saberu in this class? Although he was a little evil at the beginning, he didn't eat people. He has lost his human nature. Yunfan couldn't help but frown slightly. If I'm not mistaken, this guy named Jaxaberu has been possessed by the Destruction Clan. Sakadan's voice suddenly sounded again in Yunfan's heart. If that's the case, then this time it's really troublesome. After the last experience, Yunfan already had an intuitive understanding of the Destruction Clan. The Destruction Clan of the same level is not something that ordinary professionals can fight against. Even when he faces the Destruction Clan, he will be very powerless. This time, Yunfan's speculation was further proved. It seems that many members of the Destruction Clan have come out of the seal. But fortunately, this guy's strength seems to be only close to the saint level. If this guy's strength reaches the saint level, I can only run for my life. Yunfan involuntarily took a breath. Jaxaberu, who was sitting on a stone chair, glanced at the soldier who had just spoken, stretched out his palm leaf fan-like hand and slapped the soldier to the ground. "If you want to be eaten by me, tell me, and I will definitely fulfill your wish." What? The guy who had just spoken didn't seem to expect the other party to say that. He shuddered and retreated in fear. While retreating, he kept muttering, "Lord Jaxaberu, I know I was wrong. Can you please forgive me?" A strange red light flashed in Jaxaberu's eyes, and he said viciously, "Isn't it your honor to be eaten by me and become a part of my body? Lord Jaxaberu, will you spare me? It's not impossible for me to spare you. Then serve me well. I'll let you catch them. Just catch 1,000 of them. Don't worry." Jaxaberu's voice was full of weirdness. Jaxaberu, do what I say. When I catch 1,000 people, I will forgive your disrespect to me. Chapter 364 Cannibalism. It looks like this guy has definitely been possessed by the Destruction Clan. Yunfan sighed softly. If the two empires were at war, these people would slaughter without mercy. But now it is a monster that can no longer be called a human being that is slaughtering and capturing humans. This makes the soldiers not only helpless, but also very scared. Haha. Jaxaberu laughed loudly. Why didn't I know that human flesh is so delicious before? Jaxaberu looked like a demon at this time, smacking his lips and licking the corner of his mouth with his big tongue. I just ate a person, and now I'm hungry again. Who should I eat? Jaxaberu began to look around, and suddenly the faces of those who were pressed changed, and many people showed fear in their eyes. Eating people? It's really going to die. They had heard before that there was a cruel demon here. They were not afraid of death, but they were eaten bite by bite, and their scalps were numb at the thought of it. Jaxaberu's eyes suddenly fell on Yunfan in the distance. His eyes lit up. Wow, this human boy gives me a very familiar feeling. I seem to have seen him somewhere. Where exactly have I seen him? But soon he was occupied by other thoughts. White and clean. Tender skin. Clean. The meat must be very delicious. Come, someone, send him to me. As he said this, his mouth was drooling. This. Zika looked at Yunfan beside him anxiously. Zika had a special feeling for this lifesaver. Come here. A soldier grabbed Ji Yunfan directly. Ji Yunfan turned his head and looked at the soldier. In his eyes, the soldier could not be called a human. He waved his right hand, and a black vortex appeared in his hand, slashing out and hitting the soldier's chest. Bang! A low voice sounded, and the soldier was thrown high into the air and fell heavily to the ground. His eyes bulged and bulged, his mouth was big, his face was red, and poof, blood mixed with broken internal organs spurted out directly. Ji Yunfan was really angry. In his opinion, such a person was no longer worthy of living. Willing to be a minion of the Destroyer clan and harm his own people. Damn it. A cold voice sounded. Silence, deathly silence, including the people of the Chamber of Commerce, stared at the boy in front of them in amazement. Who are you? How do you know about the Destroyer clan? Jaxaberu reacted, a little puzzled and puzzled. Kill. The other soldiers were immediately jealous, and they rushed forward one by one. The boy in front of them actually killed their companions. Just now, their companions were killed in one fell swoop. They served in the army together and went to the battlefield together, but their feelings were very deep. In their opinion, Ji Yunfan's move could kill the soldiers, and it was very likely that their companions were not paying attention for a while and were caught off guard. And the life and death fight relies on the honed battlefield killing consciousness. Even if the strength is a big difference, one sword can still kill the enemy. More than 20 soldiers came to besiege. Ji Yunfan casually pushed several people around him, and they were thrown into the air. A black vortex suddenly appeared in front of him, blocking all the attacks of the soldiers who came to kill him. Those who were pushed out by Ji Yunfan also rolled in the air and fell to the ground without any injury. Zuka looked at Ji Yunfan anxiously and couldn't help but say, "Sir, be careful. Dante, be careful. Run away. Come on, young man." Several adventurer mercenaries who had a good relationship with Ji Yunfan also shouted loudly. Those who were tied up were also shouting anxiously, and at the same time they looked at the boy worriedly. Their thoughts were very complicated now. They hoped that Ji Yunfan was a hero who could save them, otherwise only death was waiting for them. But they all knew how powerful these soldiers were. These soldiers were experienced warriors who were good at combined attacks, and were elite warriors of the army. Being besieged by more than 20 such soldiers, they could only survive if they were strong. 8 Trigram Ghost Step. Facing the siege of more than 20 soldiers, Ji Yunfan instantly turned into a gust of wind, like a dancer, free and unfettered. When these soldiers swung their weapons, Ji Yunfan was like strolling in the crowd. Dark Mage. No, Fighting Warrior. Where have I ever felt this feeling before? Jaxaberu frowned involuntarily. A series of weapon collisions sounded, and when Ji Yunfan ghosted through the gaps between the 20 soldiers besieging him, he directly beat these soldiers and made them fall away. No one could stop him. After defeating these 20 soldiers, Ji Yunfan's figure condensed and stopped, and the more than 20 soldiers fell to the ground on the side, their heads twisted, blood oozing from their mouths, noses, and ears, bleeding from all 7 orifices. Let you help the tyrants. It's not a pity to die. Everyone fell to the ground and died. I remember now, you are Dante, that annoying guy. If it weren't for you, I would have taken over the Western Legion. Jaxaberu seemed to have thought of something, and roared with a ferocious face. This man is so powerful. The people of the Chamber of Commerce and the adventurer mercenaries once again had a new understanding of Ji Yunfan's strength. We are from the Wild Wolf Legion. How dare you treat us like this? Aren't you afraid that my Wild Wolf Legion will strangle you? The surviving soldiers were terrified. You are all ready to make me the food of this monster, and you still want me to show mercy to you? The invasion of the Ouroboros Empire army was originally a mortal enemy, not to mention that these mortal enemies were willing to be the minions of the Destroyer clan. Swish. Ji Yunfan's hand appeared out of thin air with the divine sword Daoluo, and his feet moved, followed by a flash of sword light. In the blink of an eye, all those soldiers were killed at once. Those soldiers covered their necks one by one, and fell down unwillingly without making any sound, and blood oozes out from their neck wounds. Ji Yunfan's attack was so fast, everything happened in an instant, which made the other soldiers terrified. Moreover, Ji Yunfan was so scary before he used the Daoluo sword, and now with the Daoluo sword in his hand, he was simply out of control. The fear spread and swept through the hearts of these soldiers in an instant. Master Jaxaberu, Please save us. The soldiers were completely panicked. It was obvious that this young man who came out of nowhere was going to kill them. Although Jack Saberu was extremely terrifying, he was still one of them, so they couldn't help but ask for help. Jack Saberu sat aside, laughing, and had no intention of taking action. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365, War. A bunch of trash. What's the point of keeping you alive? You might as well die now, and you can still contribute some strength to me. Jack Saberu was unmoved, fearing chaos. To him, these were all food and his own source of strength. Now you know what it means to seek the skin of a tiger. But it's too late. Kill. 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 Yunfan's killing intent did not decrease, and he kept killing. A sword attacked, blood flew, and soldiers fell down one by one. Seeing that their masters did not care about them, the soldiers hurriedly fled in all directions. They were really terrified. The offensive and defensive methods they had practiced on the battlefield were extremely clumsy and vulnerable in the face of absolute power. Damn bastard. Damn it. We risked our lives for him, but he sent us to die. Whoosh. Along with the sound of the wind, Yunfan, who was extremely fast, appeared dozens of figures out of thin air, following him like a shadow, and the soldiers who had originally helped the evil stumbled and fell to the ground, one by one. Their hearts were pierced, or their throats were cut, blood dyed the ground red, and the soldiers were either lying or lying on their stomachs, scattered all over the ground. In just a few breaths, all the soldiers were killed. Jack Saberu, who was originally watching the excitement, suddenly stood up, and his face changed. Yunfan's all-out attack at the last moment actually had a hint of divinity, which shocked him. He didn't regard Yunfan as an opponent before, but now he feels the existence of divinity. But now he is a little wary. The power of destruction is higher than the general elemental power, just like a god who has mastered the power of faith, and the power of origin is higher than the ordinary elemental power. Good kill. Those who were captured were very excited. They didn't expect Yunfan to be so powerful. Will this powerful young man be even more powerful? Kill that terrible leader? Dante kid. Jack Saberu suddenly turned into a black shadow and rushed out, blocking in front of Yunfan. A thick layer of black air condensed on his huge fist, and he smashed directly at Yunfan. You were lucky that I didn't kill you last time. It won't be so easy this time. The divine sword Daoluo in Yunfan's hand stabbed out, and stabbed directly into the dark fist. Zizzy. A sharp and piercing sound of pulling sounded, and Jining flew backwards, and the black hair on Jack Saberu's fist exploded. Very good, Dante. Jack Saberu roared in a low voice. I didn't expect you to be so good. Jack Saberu suddenly turned into a raging black gas, and the huge black blade quickly condensed, just like a ghost from hell. The airflow from its nostrils made the surrounding plants wither instantly, and the tall trees affected by it instantly withered. Everyone else, leave quickly, Yunfan said to the others in a deep voice, and he turned into a stream of light and stepped into the air, with the sword flashing. What are you still in a daze? Why don't you leave quickly? Yunfan shouted angrily, and then turned his head and stared at Jack Saberu. These people quickly picked up the weapons on the ground, and in the blink of an eye, the survivors began to flee. Can you escape? Jack Saberu's eyes with black light swept around, and the surroundings suddenly filled with black gas, and the temperature began to drop rapidly. Layers of black gas spread out, and some people quickly became dry bones. Only those who ran fast and those who were the first to escape could survive. Sir, I'm one of you. You can't do this. The soldiers who were lucky enough to survive and not be killed by Yunfan screamed in fear, but soon they turned into a pile of dry bones. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding area within dozens of meters became a dead zone. Only Yunfan and a few strong adventurer mercenaries and Jack Saberu were confronting each other. The dozens of survivors in the Chamber of Commerce in the distance were scared. A young man next to the head of the Chamber of Commerce was even more worried and said, Sir, can Dante survive? This should be possible. But, the head of the Chamber of Commerce said, but he had no confidence in his heart. Can this unidentified boy defeat this monster? What are you waiting for? Why don't you leave? Ji Yunfan said indifferently. Once the battle begins, a distance of 100 feet is nothing to him and Jaxabaru. He can't save them at all. And from the situation just now, as the number of deaths increases, Jaxabaru's strength will increase a little. Let's go. Staying here won't do anything. The head of the Chamber of Commerce had a gleam in his eyes. Although he wanted to help, he probably couldn't help. If he stayed here, Ashley, he might even lose his life. Then he gritted his teeth and shouted, and left quickly with his Chamber of Commerce members. As for the others, they had already started to flee. They were all scared. Cold and fear enveloped the land. The bodies that were either lying or standing on the ground, and whose blood was sucked out, were like sculptures. There was no breath of life anymore, which made Ji Yunfan's murderous intent even stronger. The Destruction Clan must be destroyed. Dad boy. Jaxabaru looked down at Ji Yunfan opposite him. You deserve to die, you know? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be like this. The aura of destruction enveloped Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan's clothes began to wither, and his eyebrows and skin were covered with a layer of black mist. However, Ji Yunfan's skin shook slightly, and the thin black mist was pushed out. But a large amount of black fog enveloped them again. No matter how powerful you are only level 7. But I'm a great level 8 master, and have already touched the origin of the holy level. Jaxabaru laughed strangely. Since I'll let those guys go, I'll use you to make up for it. The flesh and blood of such a strong human boy can provide more powerful power than 1,000 ordinary people. Every one of the Destroyer clan will be killed. Ji Yunfan, whose surface was faintly corroded by black air, looked at Jaxabaru with a cold voice. You are a cancer, and I'm more eager to kill you than ever before. Ji Yunfan waved his left hand, and a ball of 4-color elemental balls suddenly appeared in Ji Yunfan's hand. Fusion. Fusion magic. Jaxabaru looked down at Ji Yunfan with his huge blood-red pupils, and stomped on the ground so hard that the ground trembled, as if a mountain was rumbling and pressing down on him. Flashy. Die. A black light column suddenly descended from the sky, and trampled directly on Ji Yunfan. The air made a sharp whistle and exploded completely. The surging airwaves caused gullies on the ground. Before this attack touched Ji Yunfan already knew its power. Seal the demon. Swoosh. Ji Yunfan first swung a sword, and the sword light turned into a stream of light like water, and the silk-like stream of light directly collided with the black light column. Chapter 366. Teoti Battle. Bang! Exclamation mark. The earth shook, and a large pit several feet wide appeared, while Ji Yunfan had dodged more than 10 meters away. Sure enough, the legend is true. The demon sealing sword technique. The inheritor of the sword god. Even so, what can you do? You can't escape, and death must be your destination. Jaxabaru roared and rushed over, with a monstrous aura of destruction. His movements did not seem fast, but Ji Yunfan felt that there was nowhere to escape. The breath of despair and helplessness disturbed Ji Yunfan's heart. Fortunately, Ji Yunfan was determined. Otherwise, Ji Yunfan might have been taken away by the other party, and could not help himself. Your demon sealing sword technique is still a little weak. You can't kill me with your current strength. Since you can't kill me, then you can wait to be slaughtered by me. Jaxabaru roared and rushed over. Those obstacles in front of her were easily knocked away like small grass. As expected of the Destruction Clan, its power is much stronger than that of ordinary monsters. Ji Yunfan thought to himself, and his defense is too high. Even if I try my best to use the demon sealing sword technique, the damage caused is quite limited. Ji Yunfan jumped and stood on a big tree. He stepped on the leaves, but did not fall at all. Yeo and Jaxabaru looked at each other in the eye. Ji Yunfan had already started to operate. The Dao Ki in his body was transformed into Shura Dao Ki little by little. After such a long time of practice, Ji Yunfan could already use Shura Dao Ki while controlling his emotions. Jaxabaru suddenly stopped. He felt that Dante's breath had changed. In terms of the intensity of the breath, it was only slightly weaker than it. What is this? But he didn't know what was going on. He actually felt a dangerous breath on Ji Yunfan's body. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Haha, you are really powerful for forcing me to use these powers that I don't have control over. Ji Yunfan's skin began to turn red, and the power of Shura began to surge completely. The power of his whole body instantly increased to the extreme. A breath of despair made Jack Saberu feel very uncomfortable. He felt that his destructive power was really a small witch compared to the power of Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan felt that his power had been submerged in that emotion. If he went further, he would not have much control. Haha, you are a small 7th level master. Even if you use some shady means and even become a member of my destruction clan, you are far inferior to me. Jack Saberu felt that he seemed to have thought too much. The guy in front of him was definitely bluffing. How could his power be better than his own? Jack Saberu rushed forward suddenly, destroying everything along the way. The trees where he hit were all banged down and could not even block it. It seemed that everything was destroyed in his impact. The physical strength of the destruction clan is so strong that ordinary monsters cannot match it. Since Jack Saberu became a member of the destruction clan, he likes to rush around. The feeling after the destruction makes him very happy. Ji Yunfan already has some general understanding of this, so he will not fight with Jack Saberu of the destruction clan. At the moment of the collision, Ji Yunfan moved the Shura Dao Ki in her body to the extreme, and then she performed it according to the steps she studied, and only dodged Jack Saberu's attack with a flash. Compared with Ji Yunfan, Jack Saberu is too much worse in flexibility. While dodging Jack Saberu's attack, the Daoluo sword in Ji Yunfan's hand gently scratched Jack Saberu's body. The sword light was like rain, a crystal clear silk rain. It was faintly a large number of water droplets that formed a heavy rain. These silk threads composed of sword light like drizzle cut through Jack Saberu's body. This is a move from the demon sealing sword technique, called raindrops like silk. This move carries a trace of the power of the origin, and is the same move that blocked ZHU's destruction attack before, and it also mobilizes the power of the world. With a trace of the power of heaven and earth, Ji Yunfan's swordsmanship has also reached the realm of the saint. The magic sword Daoluo has already hit the magic weapon of the lower artifact, which is fatal to Jack Saberu, who has become a member of the destruction clan. The artifact Daoluo was cut with a wound, and the black blood spurted out directly. Damn little guy, you actually hurt me. Jack Saberu roared loudly, as if he was a wounded monster, and the destructive aura burst out of his body. Just when Ji Yunfan thought he had gotten rid of it, his abdominal muscles moved rapidly, and the huge wound that was originally cut and torn quickly became smaller. But after all, Ji Yunfan's Daoluo sword was different from ordinary magic weapons. Because there were too many people who killed the destruction clan, he seemed to be able to restrain the destruction clan naturally. In addition, Ji Yunfan's sword, the Shura Ki, seemed to have a strong destructive power on everything, showing a very cruel side. The injury could not be completely recovered. Even if he tried his best to suppress it, blood continued to flow out, but not as wildly as before. No, why is your Dao Ki so weird? It can actually destroy my body. You know, after the transformation of the power of destruction, my body is not much different from that of an ordinary saint level powerhouse, and even in some aspects it is far superior to that of a saint level powerhouse. Damn, what is going on? Jack Saberu roared loudly, as if he couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. Jack Saberu, your death is coming. I don't care if you are from the destruction clan or not. I will kill you today. By the way, don't you want to know why I can cause you so much harm? But I won't tell you. Ji Yunfan teased Jack Saberu, and in an instant he turned into a phantom and ran towards him at high speed. Damn bastard, how can you do this? Jack Saberu suddenly roared loudly but ran wildly, ran away, ran away. Ever since he felt the threat from Ji Yunfan, he had already had the intention to retreat. Although he has now become a destruction clan, he is more afraid of death than before. Escaped. Escaped just like that? Ji Yunfan looked at the direction where Jack Saberu left in disbelief. Isn't it said that all the destruction clan are terrifying and evil, and even fearless of life and death? He soon understood that, whether they became the destruction clan or not, their essence is to bully the weak and fear the strong, and they will immediately flee once they feel their lives are in danger. Chapter 367 Beheading. The destruction clan relied on their physical bodies, but their physical bodies were useless in front of Ji Yunfan. Jack Saberu, who had lost his support, did not want to die here. Last time we met, I could still suppress that guy. How come this guy is so powerful now? Jaxaberu fled in panic. But, can he escape from here? Yunfan's speed was amazing. He was so fast that he was like a shadow. He was even half a second faster than Jaxaberu. He would soon catch up with Jaxaberu. Jaxaberu, you don't want to kill me. I'm here. Why are you running? Yunfan said as he chased. I'm the subordinate of the 4th general. You can't kill me. Jaxaberu howled while running away. The low and shrill cry spread far away. Yunfan was like a ghost, swift and agile. The Daoluo sword in his hand spun and stabbed at Jaxaberu. For a moment, Yunfan turned into a dazzling stream, and with the intention of Shura, he went directly into Jaxaberu's neck. With a bang, Jaxaberu spurted blood from his neck. Impossible. Why is this happening? I hate it so much. Jaxaberu's eyes widened. He didn't expect that he would die in the hands of a guy whom humans looked down upon, after scheming all his life. For the sake of power, he even gave up his human nature and turned into a destroyer. Although the vitality of the destroyer clan is strong, they can survive, even if their hearts are pierced. But Yunfan chose the real key point, the head. Not to mention it, even if the great god of destruction is pierced through the head, he will almost certainly die. Jaxaberu fell directly to the ground. It's worthy of being called the demon sealing sword technique. It turns out that it can be done like this. Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief. The people from the Chamber of Commerce had already left. Yunfan didn't know where they had fled to. Yunfan didn't go looking for them. Anyway, the destination remained unchanged, so Yunfan chose to go to the small town of Grom on the west coast alone. Not long after parting with the Chamber of Commerce, Yunfan rescued a team of adventurers who went deep into the jungle. The 7 adventurers were composed of 4 warriors, 1 magician and 2 archers. The archer was a woman, and the others were all men. These adventurers, swordsmen, and magicians seemed to have been recognized by the Magic Guild and the Swordsman Guild, so the clothes they wore had symbols of their strength. Yunfan could easily see their strength at a glance. Generally, those who joined this kind of team had learned through some formal channels of the academy. The strength of the 7 people is not weak, but if they go deeper into the forest, they will seem a little weak. Yunfan couldn't help shaking his head. They are a group of newcomers who don't know the height of the world. Judging from the behavior of the 7 people, none of them has adventure experience, just like the adventurer team composed of Avril and Yunfan. It's no wonder why these guys were attacked by stronger monsters. If they hadn't met Yunfan, they would probably be dead. If there were adventurers with more adventure experience among them, they would never be chased by a 4th level eagle dog beast. My name is Hajid. They are all my companions. I think you saw the movement of the eagle dog beast just now. I'm sorry to tell you that the eagle dog beast's target was us at first, but he found you walking alone. That's why he shifted his target to you. I'm really sorry. The leading guy was sincere. You shouldn't have much adventure experience. I don't recommend you to take risks here. Yunfan smiled and nodded, then said, we are very powerful. In the academy, we, ahem. The one called Hajid coughed hurriedly to stop the warriors around him from talking. Yes, friend, are you adventuring in the forest alone? No, I'm just passing by here. If you don't mind, you can go with us. If there are 8 of us together, the general monster should not dare to come down to make trouble. Hajid looked at Yunfan sincerely and said. Yunfan shook his head and refused with a smile. No. I see that you seem to want to go deeper into the forest, but I'm going to leave. We are not on the same road, so I won't bother you. Yunfan didn't mean to be an Annie. How can that be possible? If you walk alone, the monsters will definitely. I think you should stay with us, otherwise you will be in great danger, and you may even lose your life. The archer exclaimed. After the archer said this, the other few people also persuaded Yunfan, but Yunfan did not agree to leave with them. Although the strength of these 6 people is not weak, they have too little experience. Yunfan saw clearly that a group of 7 adventurers were following him in the distance. He had already warned them, so he left slowly. After repeated attempts, many monsters took Yunfan as a soft specimen. In the middle of the attack, an eagle-shaped demon flew directly towards Yunfan, with its sharp claws bent and quickly approaching Yunfan's skull. A strong wind blew, and the eagle-shaped demon that had been trying to attack seemed to think that it had found a suitable opportunity. It suddenly shot towards Ji Yunfan like lightning, and its pair of iron claws went straight to Ji Yunfan's head, as if it wanted to tear Ji Yunfan's head apart. Well, he is in danger. We should save him now, Hajid suddenly exclaimed, and then the 7 adventurers no longer cared about hiding their bodies, and had already walked out of the bushes behind, wanting to save Ji Yunfan's life. Ji Yunfan showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth, turned his body, and the Daoluo sword appeared in his hand. Just as the eagle demon screamed and tried to attack, the Daoluo sword with a green glow suddenly broke through the air, carrying endless surging power, and poured into the eagle demon. With a shrill cry, the eagle demon tried desperately to escape. At this time, the magic gun was already in Ji Yunfan's hand, aiming at the head of the eagle demon, and shooting it in the head. Red flames burst out from the eagle demon's body, and it kept screaming in pain. At this time, the body could not be stabilized at all, and he did not pay attention to the approach of a more fatal attack. The magic bullet penetrated his head and exploded. Fire magic bullet. Magic gun. This person came from that place, Grom City on the west coast. Those who wanted to rescue Ji Yunfan also stopped their actions. Looking at the eagle demon with weak wings fluttering in the distance, their expressions were all surprised. Grom City on the west coast has recently been called the safest city in the empire, with magic guns and magic cannons. Chapter 368 Scholar Fruit. It can also be said that magic guns and magic cannons are the identity symbols of Grom City on the west coast. After the fire magic bullet penetrated the body of the eagle demon, the bullet began to burn, but the body of the eagle demon quickly became burnt, and the strong smell even spread far away. Standing up and patting the dust on his body, Ji Yunfan walked to the front of the eagle demon who had completely died, picked up the magic core left on the ground, and put it into the space ring. Hey, friend, you are so powerful, it seems that our worries are indeed unnecessary. Hajid in the distance, walked out of the dark, walked in front of Ji Yunfan, and said to Ji Yunfan in some disbelief. Although these people did not help much, Ji Yunfan saw their conversation and actions. These people are not bad in character. Now that the leader Hajid said this, Ji Yunfan also smiled and nodded and said, "Thank you for your concern, Hajid. Since he is no longer in danger, I think we should continue to go deep into the forest to find the scholar fruit." A warrior came from a distance and urged Hajid, "Hey, I really don't know if the scholar fruit we are looking for exists. I have never heard of a fruit that looks like a human." The archer girl sighed. "Hajid, didn't you see it in the Imperial Atlas?" A soldier objected. "It is mentioned in the Imperial Atlas, but the scholar fruit was last discovered 500 years ago. There is a scholar fruit here," Sakuden said in disbelief. Scholar fruit? Although Ji Yunfan felt that he had heard this name somewhere, he couldn't remember it for a while. Ji Yunfan, who was about to say goodbye to them, did not plan to leave immediately after hearing what these people said. Instead, he looked at them with some confusion. The scholar fruit, also known as a saint fruit, is a material for making holy potions. Taking the fruit can even allow people to comprehend the origin of the saint level. Sakuden explained, "But can't this thing only grow in the continent of gods? How could it appear here unless a saint level fell here not long ago? So, there was a saint level fall here, but there probably isn't one now." Ji Yunfan was a little disappointed, but couldn't help but say, "It's really incredible that the scholar fruit once appeared here. Can you tell me about it? You actually know the scholar fruit?" We all heard about the scholar fruit from Hajid, and he knows more about it. A warrior smiled at Ji Yunfan in a friendly manner, pointing at Hajid and said, "Actually, I don't know much about it. I just saw it occasionally in the Atlas when I was in the college library. How about it, friend? Are you interested in the scholar fruit?" Haha, according to legend, Scholar is a demon who likes to eat human brains. After his death, a strange fruit may grow in the place where he is buried. This fruit is the size of a fist and has a dark brown texture, which is very similar to the appearance of a human. It is said that the scholar fruit has magical powers. Normal people will become crazy after eating it. But I heard that after the scholar fruit is crushed by the pharmacist, it can be made into a very precious potion. This potion can cure curses. This time we accepted the commission of Grand Duke Cholton and went to the forest to try our luck and see if we can find the scholar fruit. After Hajid finished speaking, Yunfan was suddenly pleasantly surprised. In the memory left by the remnant soul of the god, it was mentioned that this kind of fruit has a fierce expansion effect on the human brain. The reason why it can turn an ordinary person into a madman is that ordinary people cannot comprehend the origin of the holy rank, but Yunfan is different. He has already comprehended a trace of the origin of the holy rank. This fruit is poison to others, but it is undoubtedly a holy medicine for him. With the help of the fruit, he can greatly improve his cultivation. Originally, Yunfan had never thought about this aspect, because Yunfan believed that it should be impossible for the scholar fruit to exist on this continent. A fruit that can greatly improve Yunfan's own realm may be obtained. This temptation is difficult for Yunfan to resist. Yunfan did not think too much about it. After Hajid finished explaining, he directly asked, "If you don't mind, I would like to go with you to find this scholar fruit." Anyway, after this period of time, he has been inquiring about his fiefdom. The situation is not bad. After Yunfan said this, Hajid and the other 7 adventurers looked at each other and were very surprised. They never thought that Yunfan would suddenly make such a suggestion. The scholar fruit was useless to ordinary people and could even drive them crazy. Regarding the scholar fruit, we actually don't have much hope. Whether there is any in the depths of the forest is still an unknown. We are just trying our luck. We only know that someone saw this fruit in a place 500 years ago. We are not sure whether it is the scholar fruit or not, and whether it has been taken by others. Are you really determined to go on this unknown adventure with us? This thing has no effect on you. Although Hajid hoped that Yunfan would take the risk with them at the beginning, he still needed to ask. Hajid looked at Yunfan, explained it to Yunfan seriously, and then asked Yunfan. After hearing what Hajid said, Yunfan knew that this group of people probably had no confidence, and he didn't think they had much confidence, but Yunfan thought about it and felt that nothing seemed to happen for the time being. Where the scholar fruit appeared, there was a saint level fall. Maybe even if he couldn't get the scholar fruit, he might get some other good things. If he was lucky enough to get the scholar fruit, then Yunfan's saint level origin would be greatly improved, and it would not be a problem to directly enter the saint level. The improvement of the saint level at this level would also mean that Yunfan's mental power would also benefit, so Yunfan thought carefully and felt that it was definitely worth taking this risk with them. Nodding, Yunfan looked at Hajid and answered affirmatively, "Yes, I want to go with you. But if this kind of fruit is really found, I hope to get one. Since you insist so much, we are very happy that you have joined. I'm actually just trying my luck with this scholar fruit and I don't have any hope. Our main purpose is still to explore the forest. As you said, we are novices, because legend has it that there are more attractive things in it. Haha, it would be best if we can get the scholar fruit, but it doesn't matter if we can't. The Grand Duke doesn't think we can get it. We just need a task, and it doesn't matter if we can give you the extra ones," Hajid said with a smile. Chapter 369, The Three-Headed Dog of Hell. The deeper you go, the greater the danger. The real dangers will slowly be revealed. In the innermost part, there are more powerful monsters in the forest, some magical races and various plants that are life-threatening. Yunfan heard the mark on the map and quickly analyzed the most likely location of the fruit. However, along with the crisis that can be seen everywhere, several people have various gains, some exotic plants and monster skins and cores, many of which can be sold at high prices. There are also rich things that can be sold. Of course, the premise is that you must kill them, but Yunfan is not as enthusiastic about these things as at the beginning. Since the two sides have reached a consensus, they did not stay here any longer. The group of 8 people moved to a deeper area. Not far ahead, there is a red circle on the map. Yunfan had secretly visited the circle. There lived an 8th level peak monster, the ice firewing lizard. With these people, Yunfan knew that no one except him could survive. Although there was some wealth in it, it had been regarded as his own personal property by Yunfan. So under the deliberate leadership of Yunfan, the group avoided that area and continued to move forward after a slight detour. After walking for a long time, the group did not encounter any trouble or danger. At night, the 8 of them set up camp by the river. These guys were really newbies and did not have any preparations at all. Yunfan shook his head and took out the items for setting up camp from the space ring and distributed them to several people. Finally, he set up a campfire to cook food. The clear river next to it had very clear water, which was very convenient for washing food. The archers had good skills and soon killed several low-level monsters. Everyone used homemade wooden forks to skewer the fat monsters and roasted them. When the monster meat was cooked and everyone finished eating, everyone talked about some things in the academy around the campfire for a while, and then went to sleep in their own tents. Hajid volunteered to take on the guard work. Yunfan was not too confident that Hajid would keep watch at night, so he decided to keep watch with Hajid. After placing the shadow demons around, Yunfan felt relieved. In the second half of the night, a strange sound woke up Yunfan from his meditation. Yunfan observed through the shadow demons, and the surrounding situation fell into his mind. Following the direction of the sound, one of the shadow demons flew in the direction of the sound. A 3-headed dog approached from a distance, staggering. One of its necks was bleeding black blood. It was obvious that the other party was poisoned, and it seemed to be seriously injured. It ran towards this side without knowing the direction. The 3-headed dog is also known as a hell 3-headed dog. It is said to be a messenger from hell. The rank is not low. I don't know why it is so embarrassed and has to run away. This is a shadow demon paid attention to the movement of the 3-headed dog, and another shadow demon fled in the direction of the escape, trying to see what kind of thing it was, forcing the 3-headed dog to flee with injuries. However, after the shadow demon left for a distance, Yunfan did not find anything unusual. Everyone wake up. Yunfan took a breath, and seeing the 3-headed dog flying towards this direction, Yunfan immediately stood up, rushed to Hajid quickly, and shook Hajid. Hurry up, something's wrong. What's wrong, brother Dante? Hajid, who was sleeping, heard Yunfan's shouting in a daze, and suddenly became alert. Hurry up and wake up. Hajid quickly came to the front of the tent, and called everyone to get up. He saw that the few people who were sleeping soundly quickly put on their clothes, and then walked out of the tent a few seconds later. It was about to fall, and the night was extremely cold. These adventurers were now wrapped up tightly, with only their faces showing. Because Yunfan's spying was done through the shadow demon, although the 3-headed dog was approaching this side quickly, at present, except for Yunfan, the few people still could not detect any movement. Hajid looked around in confusion and said to Yunfan, brother Dante, it seems normal, what's going on? A 3-headed dog is approaching here in the direction of more than a mile to the west. I think it may pose a danger to us. We need to prepare immediately. Yunfan did not have time to explain anything to them and spoke directly. How is it possible? Brother Dante, you are not kidding us, are you? Hajid and the others were obviously a little unconvinced. Others seemed to be a little unconvinced by Yunfan's statement. When they were about to question it, the female archer suddenly lay on the ground and listened. Her face changed, and she said in a deep voice, although I don't know what that thing is, it's a big guy coming. In that case, let's get ready immediately. If it is a 3-headed dog, it will be troublesome. The 3-headed dog is famous for its bad temper. It is said to be from hell, and has no good feelings towards humans. I think it will cause trouble for us, if it finds us. The female archer took out the bow and arrow and said worriedly, if it is really a 3-headed dog, it will be really troublesome. The 3-headed dog's vision is not affected by the night. Not only can it spray venom, but the 3 heads can also directly attack with sharp teeth. It may be very dangerous for us to deal with it. Yunfan took out his magic gun and climbed into a nearby tree. He spoke quickly, don't worry too much for now. This 3-headed dog has been injured, and its strength should have been reduced a lot. If we are properly prepared, it should not have much impact on us. However, Yunfan's face was still gloomy and terrible. He did not say that the guy who could cause damage to the 3-headed dog would be more difficult to deal with. Yunfan said this, and the group ignored it and showed surprise. If the 3-headed dog was not injured, it would be a bit troublesome for the adventure team to deal with the 3-headed dog. From Yunfan's words, they heard that the injury of this 3-headed dog should not be light. This is simply a godsend opportunity, and it must not be let go easily. The few people with pleasant surprises hid in the shadows of the trees with weapons, ready to hit the three-headed dog with a mental blow. The bushes were swept by and made a crackling sound. In the anxious waiting of the crowd, the injured three-headed dog appeared in everyone's sight. There really is a three-headed dog. How is it possible? After seeing the three-headed dog, a few people who had been skeptical about Yunfan's statement couldn't help but show admiration to Yunfan. They excitedly clenched the long swords in their hands, ready to give the three-headed dog a swift attack at any time. Chapter 370 Carnivorous Ant Colony. The three-headed dog, which was moving forward without knowing the direction, finally crashed into the trap that Yunfan had set up at the beginning. The huge impact force caused the trap that Yunfan had set up to vibrate. At the same time, the attacks of several people were launched almost at the same time. The magician in the team fired a burst of fire and hit the back of the three-headed dog. Several warriors who had been prepared for a long time took advantage of this time to rush out, flew to the three-headed dog from behind, and released their fighting spirit to attack fiercely. Yunfan also seized the opportunity, holding a magic gun in one hand and Aluo sword in the other. In this way, the three-headed dog was hit hard by the continuous heavy blows, and even the venom did not have time to spray a few times. In the case of being injured, it finally fell to the ground powerlessly. Seeing that they had killed the three-headed dog, several adventurers were inexplicably excited. They walked out of their hiding places with joy and began to prepare to skin the three-headed dog. At this moment, Yunfan's face suddenly changed, and he shouted, "Get out of here quickly, the guy chasing the three-headed dog is coming." "Impossible, Brother Dante," Hajid and the others cried. The 7 people who had planned to appreciate the fruits of their victory were stunned when they heard Yunfan's voice, and then they all reacted one by one, and gave up collecting the three-headed dog very wisely, and looked at Yunfan one by one. After Yunfan repeatedly showed his extraordinary abilities, they had unconsciously regarded Yunfan as a leader, and seemed to think that all this was natural. The leader plays a vital role in a team, and the stronger the leader's persuasiveness in a team, the stronger the team's cohesion. In addition to having convincing strength, this leader must also have a calm mind and keen judgment. "Follow me." Without any nonsense, Yunfan spoke directly after he realized that he had become their leader. "Boss, what is that?" "I don't know." Yunfan quickly crossed the area and shot to the left. None of the adventurers behind him questioned Yunfan's judgment. They immediately put down everything in their hands and ignored the exposed tents and the corpse of the three-headed dog on the ground. They followed Yunfan and ran out. A huge and dense tree suddenly appeared in front of several people. The towering trees here covered the sky. The huge branches at night were like the tentacles of monsters, which seemed a bit scary. Fear occupied the hearts of these people. Yunfan carefully took out some special spices from the space ring and distributed them to everyone. After arriving here, Yunfan carefully stared at the distance, crossed a hill, and climbed up along the mountain road. Halfway up the hill, everyone suddenly found a gap here. The hill was actually hollow inside. After entering from the gap, several people stretched out half of their heads and looked into the distance. "Brother Dante, what on earth is that?" Only then did everyone breathe a sigh of relief. Hajid stopped and looked at Yunfan with lingering fear. "It looks like a colony of carnivorous ants." Yunfan frowned and said to Hajid, "Carnivorous ant colony? This?" Several people couldn't help but gasp. Although carnivorous ants are only third-level monsters, they live in groups. When facing carnivorous ants, even saint-level strongmen may fall. After hearing that it was a colony of carnivorous ants that chased the three-headed dog, several people took a breath of cold air. They were repeatedly thankful that the group escaped in time. Otherwise, there is a high possibility that there would be nobody left in the carnivorous ant colony. A huge dark back instantly swallowed up the body of the three-headed dog. Yunfan and Hajid and his group stayed in the distance, deliberately hiding their breath, and they were a little distance away from it. They were really scared, afraid of being discovered by the carnivorous ant colony. The body of the three-headed dog was devoured completely not long after. After the corpse of the 3 congregants and 5 dogs was eaten, the carnivorous ants did not leave directly. After looking around, because Ji Yunfan had already spread the spices, the carnivorous ants did not find anything. Then they shook their bodies composed of many carnivorous ants and began to return along the original route. You should know that the reason why these carnivorous ants are called carnivorous ants is because they have an unprecedented enthusiasm for meat. The people around Ji Yunfan watched everything nervously, and their hearts were filled with endless fear. They even held their breath and dared not make any sound easily, for fear of being sensed by the man-eating ants. Ji Yunfan secretly released his shadow demon and carefully observed everything. In the end, the carnivorous ants disappeared at the end of the place where they came from after getting nothing. When the carnivorous ants had completely disappeared, Ji Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief, but Ji Yunfan did not take back the shadow demon he had released. Instead, he used the shadow demon to explore farther. The carnivorous ants have left now. It looks like we are safe for now, Ji Yunfan said in a very calm tone. Great, we really escaped death this time. No, if it was Brother Dante, we would all be in danger if you were here. At this time, everyone was truly convinced of Ji Yunfan's judgment. The guys who didn't trust Ji Yunfan at the beginning now looked at Ji Yunfan with sincere admiration. As soon as Ji Yunfan said this, everyone finally cheered happily. This was really surviving a disaster. They walked out of the gap carefully. After a short rest, they started their adventure again, but this time Hajid and his people were much more careful. They almost followed Ji Yunfan's lead. Brother Dante, you have so much experience in adventures. When we leave the forest, we must be well and thank you. Just as the few people were walking forward, a bow and arrow suddenly shot from a distance, and the arrow shot directly at Ji Yunfan's chest. If Ji Yunfan hadn't dodged it properly, he would have been chilled to the bone. Who are you, and why are you trying to kill me? Ji Yunfan asked expressionlessly. I'm happy to kill you, so of course I will hurt you. Do you need any reason? A strange voice suddenly came, and then a tiger lion carrying a silver-haired young man appeared not far from Ji Yunfan. The silver-haired young man spoke casually, as if other people's lives were not lives in his eyes. The tiger lion is a very powerful magic beast. Its claws tear the flesh fiercely, and it is agile and powerful in jumping. It is a first-level magic beast that is more difficult to provoke than a three-headed dog. The tiger lion is already a very headache existence. I didn't expect such a magic beast to be tamed by people. Chapter 371 Satan Youth. I feel the breath of the three-headed dog on you. If I'm not mistaken, you are the master of the three-headed dog of hell, Ji Yunfan said with a slightly frown. So, Xiaosun was indeed killed by you. So it's not too much for me to kill you and avenge him, the silver-haired young man said expressionlessly. At this time, all these people came out of hiding. When they saw the young man being so domineering, they immediately felt angry. They sneered from a distance and said, my friend, if we hadn't killed this three-headed dog of hell, we would have lost our lives. Don't be too domineering. The young man looked up at everyone and said disdainfully, you know, this world is originally the law of the jungle. I'm stronger than you. You deserve to die if I kill you. After saying this, the young man ignored Ji Yunfan and the others, kicked the tiger lion's belly, and gave the attack order in a very cold tone. Ji Yunfan and his friends were not good-tempered people. Seeing that the young man ignored them, they sneered and said, you are right. This world is originally a world where the strong prey on the weak, but some people have no self-awareness at all. As long as you dare to move, I will kill you here. Oh, then I will wait for you here and see how you kill me. The young man looked at Ji Yunfan with great interest and said this indifferently, as if he didn't take Ji Yunfan and his friends to heart at all. Ji Yunfan nodded. Since you want to die so much, I will fulfill your wish. Ji Yunfan instantly took out the magic gun from his space ring and fired at the young man. The young man never thought that Ji Yunfan would start fighting as soon as he said so he had to take out his own weapon to resist, but his speed was much lower than Ji Yunfan's magic gun, and he was forced by Ji Yunfan to fall off the tiger lion. You kid actually dared to attack me. Do you know who I am? If you provoke me, you will definitely not have a good ending. He got up from the ground and glared at Ji Yunfan fiercely. I don't care who you are going to kill me, and you don't allow me to fight back. Ji Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth and showed a mocking smile. Well, you are really brave. You dare to talk to my Satan family like this? After hearing the young man talk about his family background, the people present turned very ugly. I don't care if you are Satan or a stinky egg. Anyone who wants to kill me, I will not let it go easily. Yunfan said in a cold tone. Hajite said to Yunfan anxiously, he is from the legendary family. I should have thought of it long ago. Riding a tiger and a lion, whoever provokes that family will definitely be in great trouble. Yunfan looked at the young man in surprise, and then he remembered the legend about the Satan family. It is said that this family is the bloodline of the devil, and even the top power on the continent, the church, dare not easily provoke it. Every member of this family is very domineering. It is said that they are bloodthirsty and each of them is a cold-blooded killer. The killer organization that once assassinated him was founded by this family. Your friend's suggestion is good. I may forgive you. The young man smiled playfully. However, what responded to him was the sharp whistling sound of the magic bullet breaking through the air. Yunfan's expression was cold, and he was not frightened by Hajite's words at all. He aimed the magic gun in his hand at this guy and shot it directly. Seeing Yunfan attacking him again, the young man was very surprised. When he showed his surprised expression, he had already taken a step back like a ghost. In the past, when his family was mentioned, almost everyone was nervous when facing him, fearing that he would attack him if he was unhappy. With a puff, the magic bullet hit a big hole in the ground where he was originally. If the young man had not dodged in time, this series of attacks would have directly penetrated his body. After hearing that this person was from the Satan family, the few people standing behind Yunfan did not dare to act rashly. They just looked at Yunfan cautiously. Unexpectedly, what they feared would come true. Yunfan actually took action. The young man who dodged the magic bullet suddenly cooled down his expression. His sharp eyes instantly focused on Yunfan. He nodded and said, "You are very good. The people who came out of that town with magic bullets and magic guns are indeed different." The young man felt that he had guessed Yunfan's origin through the magic gun in his hand, but he would never guess that the young man in front of him was the master of Grom on the west coast. The young Satan held a long sword in his right hand and walked towards Yunfan slowly. His expression was obviously unfriendly. At this time, Yunfan, who paused for a while, suddenly took out the divine sword Daoluo from the space ring and attacked before the long sword in the young Satan's hand arrived. Yunfan's speed was too fast. The young man hurriedly used the long sword in his hand to resist. The two weapons intertwined and intertwined. The powerful force directly pushed the Satan youth dozens of meters away, as if he was slapped on the spot. The young man surnamed Satan was stunned. The explanation in his mouth seemed weak and pale. He stopped abruptly. He never thought that a guy he met casually would be so powerful. Yunfan's footsteps shook, and he turned around again magically, and bullied him again. Take advantage of your illness and kill you. Yunfan would naturally not give up. He took a good opportunity to make a move. The Daoluo sword in his hand passed through the sky like lightning. The young man surnamed Satan had a terrible gloomy face, but his mental strength was highly concentrated. He suddenly turned sideways and avoided Yunfan's attack. Yunfan smiled slightly. He now knew the strength of this young man surnamed Satan. If there were no accidents, he would be able to deal with the guy in front of him soon. However, the young man who looked like Satan was furious and glared at Yunfan fiercely. Then he was cautious and slowly approached Yunfan, staring at Yunfan with his eyes, without any intention of relaxing. He took a deep breath. Because the magic gun had lost its effect due to the distance, Yunfan directly put away the magic gun. You will pay the price. The young Satan suddenly stopped and said coldly, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372 Weird Fighting Spirit. Who wouldn't say such a big word? Yunfan smiled evilly, showing his white teeth. Well, brother Dante, you must be more careful. It is said that the most powerful thing about the Satan family is not how powerful they are, but that they can leave marks on other people. As long as you follow the mark, you can find the marked person. Haggai muttered with a cold face. It seems that we are in trouble. In this case, we don't have to be polite. These new adventurers have been avoiding making enemies with the Satan family, because this family will take revenge for any slight. Seeing that it is difficult to get out of this situation, Haggai sighed. As soon as Haggai, the captain, said this, several adventurers who were still hesitant, immediately took their positions quickly, took out their weapons and prepared, intent to deal with members of this notorious family. The young man surnamed Satan, who was about to approach Yunfan, thrust out the earth sword in his hand. The yellow fighting spirit wrapped the long sword, and a yellow light flew in the direction of Yunfan. The grass and trees on the ground suddenly broke into powder all over the sky. Wherever the yellow fighting spirit passed, the ground seemed to have a crack. The power contained in the fighting spirit was full of strange breath, which made people feel frightened. Yunfan clearly felt that the young man surnamed Satan was more lethal than the warriors of the same title. Could it be that the guy in front of him was really the descendant of the devil Satan? Somehow, such a thought suddenly appeared in Yunfan's mind. But soon, Yunfan suppressed this thought in his heart, because he knew that now was not the time to think about these things. Being distracted during a battle was a very dangerous thing. The King Emperor's fighting spirit started to run wildly, and the surging King Emperor's fighting spirit was all poured into the Divine Sword Daoluo. The Divine Sword Daoluo, who absorbed the surging King Emperor's fighting spirit, instantly spread a green light around. When the yellow fighting spirit came violently, the sword Daoluo was held tightly by Yunfan, and slashed at the yellow fighting spirit. With a loud bang, the yellow fighting spirit and the green light burst out, and the two weapons collided fiercely. A strong airflow pushed in all directions. In an instant, a round pit more than 1 meter deep suddenly appeared on the ground. There was nothing left except some soil. Yunfan stood still, looking at the young man named Satan in front of him with sharp eyes. The young man who looked like Satan suddenly sat down, after retreating 5 or 6 steps in a row. His right arm holding the long sword was bloody, and looked very scary. Damn bastard, you dare to hurt Grandpa. You really have the capital to be proud. Don't think you have defeated me like this. The young man named Satan said hoarsely, and his voice was like a demon coming out of the underworld, which made people shudder. He shook his right arm, and the blood beads that oozed out spilled out. Then, his arm, which had become a bloody mess, recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Yunfan and the others were sure that this was definitely not the recovery speed that humans could have. Could it be that the guy in front of them was really the offspring of the devil? Although it seemed that Yunfan was not injured at all, the real situation was not like this. A strange fighting spirit flowed into his meridians along Yunfan's arm. Yunfan felt as if he was about to explode, and then his whole body was numb. Is this kid really the offspring of the devil? Why is his fighting spirit so strange? Yunfan moved numbly, and then he circulated the King D fighting spirit in his body at an unprecedented high speed. The last time he faced an 8th level warrior, Yunfan tested that his strength was indeed higher than that of an ordinary 7th level swordsman. The real strength of this Satan-like young man in front of him should be about the same as his own. Like himself, he has the ability to challenge higher level opponents. The reason why he can challenge higher level opponents is that he has obtained many opportunities after coming to this continent. Facts have proved that the weirdness of the fighting spirit of this Satan-like guy in front of him is indeed far beyond Yunfan's expectations. The attack of this guy in front of him has caused a lot of trauma to Yunfan. If Yunfan had not cultivated the King D fighting spirit and his body was extremely tough, I'm afraid that this attack would corrode the meridians of ordinary people. It seems that Dante, Big Brother, will win, one of the adventurers said with a smile. However, before he finished speaking, Yunfan began to tremble there. Brother Dante, what's wrong with you? Haggai asked worriedly. Haha. Do you know how powerful my demon fighting spirit is? Your body has been corroded by my demon fighting spirit. I believe it won't take long before it will turn into a pool of dead water. How about it? Kneel down and beg for mercy now. If I'm kind, I will spare your life. The young man surnamed Satan, the original sorrow on his face disappeared and became extremely proud. While talking, the young man surnamed Satan actually walked towards Yunfan step by step. What is going on here? We must protect our companions. We absolutely cannot let him hurt Brother Dante. Hajite shouted calmly, and then several fellow adventurers surrounded Yunfan in an instant, trying to provide shelter for Yunfan. You guys leave here quickly, don't worry about me. His fighting spirit can't affect me, Yunfan said, while urging the fighting spirit in his body to expel the demon fighting spirit from his body. How did you do it? The young man surnamed Satan looked at Yunfan in disbelief. How did I do it? You don't have to worry about it, but do you still want my life now? Yunfan walked towards the young man surnamed Satan step by step with the divine sword Daoluo in his hand. The young man surnamed Satan was startled and showed a hesitant look on his face. Soon, he seemed to have made up his mind, glared at Yunfan and the others fiercely, and then turned and left. It's really not a good thing to let this young man from the Satan family leave. You know, in this family, they will never let go of any grudges. Hajite said with some concern. This kid's fighting spirit is really weird. If we chase him now, maybe we can catch up with him. Yunfan couldn't help, but Cyan said. Why is his fighting spirit weird? We have all heard about the horror of this family. I really don't know how weird it is. Hajite asked curiously, and the other people were also full of desire for knowledge. Chapter 373 A brief discussion. His fighting spirit is full of corrosive power, and once it enters other people's bodies, their bodies will be paralyzed involuntarily. If they can't dispel it, they will become lambs to be slaughtered. Yunfan frowned slightly and said, I didn't expect it to be so weird. Brother Dante, did you get hit just now? One of the members of the team asked curiously. I did get hit just now. If it weren't for my special fighting spirit, the consequences would be really unimaginable. I think he left because he found that his fighting spirit had no effect on me. But what? Yunfan said half of the words and left the other half, which made the others more curious. Nothing. Yunfan didn't intend to say it. In this cold-blooded world, the more secrets you have, the longer you can live. He didn't want to expose his secrets to these people, although he didn't think these people would have any bad intentions. This kind of personality is not the personality of the Satan family who will take revenge for every grievance. Several adventurers seemed a little confused. Do you think he has given up? In fact, that guy has been secretly observing us for a long time, but you just didn't notice it. Yunfan suddenly smiled mysteriously. Brother Dante, you mean that he is going to attack us by surprise? Hajite was shocked by Yunfan's words, and couldn't help asking. Didn't you say that people with this surname are vindictive? How could they just leave like that? Because he felt that I didn't seem to be afraid of his fighting spirit, he was not sure about dealing with us, but wanted to use a sneak attack. Yunfan said with a smile. Oh my god, what should we do? Several adventurers were so scared that their faces turned green. They didn't expect to encounter such a situation on their first adventure. Have you forgotten how I took you to avoid the monsters? Yunfan smiled secretly and said, even if he hides underground, I can know where he is. His every move is under my surveillance. Don't you think this sneak attack is funny? At this time, we have to talk about this guy named Satan. He is often active in this nameless forest, doing some killing, burning, and looting. He is very familiar with the terrain here, so this guy thinks he can find a good ambush location. In fact, he has encountered him before. He has succeeded again and again with his understanding of the nameless forest. The guy has absolute confidence that he can get rid of Yunfan and his team, but this time his wishful thinking will be empty. If there is no Yunfan shadow demons peeping, facing the sneak attack of this young man named Satan, everyone may really be helpless, and they will definitely suffer heavy losses in the dark night. After all, his fighting spirit is really too weird, almost everyone's nemesis. If you fight with him for a long time, few people can survive the corrosion of fighting spirit. However, now that shadow demon is monitoring them all the time, everything has changed. The guy who was supposed to be the hunter may very likely become someone else's prey for the first time. Wait a minute, why do I feel like something is spying on me? That shouldn't be possible. You know, I've been in this nameless forest for nearly 3 years. I know exactly what can threaten me. You little brats who don't know the dangers of the world, I'm going to teach you a good lesson tonight and let you know who you can't offend. The young man named Satan hid on a towering tree, secretly spying on Ji Yunfan and the others, thinking that he had already won the game. In fact, he didn't know that his every move was also seen clearly by Ji Yunfan. This guy is still as confident as a god. I really don't know where his confidence comes from. Ji Yunfan showed a sly smile at the corner of his mouth. Damn you, you actually smiled so obscenely. The guy named Satan secretly spied on Ji Yunfan in the dark. Seeing Ji Yunfan's secret smile, he couldn't help cursing. This abominable boy, he is not thinking about my strategic evacuation today. Damn bastard, I will definitely make you look good later, grind you to ashes. Time passed by minute, and there was still some time before dark. Ji Yunfan felt that he should study his physical condition properly. After Ji Yunfan's body was repeatedly forged and tempered by the King Didaoki, Ji Yunfan's physical strength had reached a level that even she herself could not believe. Let's camp here today. Ji Yunfan brought a few people to a small river and said to the people. Naturally, no one else objected to the place chosen by Ji Yunfan. While it's still early, you go find some food first. Remember, don't go too far, I'll make some traps. Ji Yunfan smiled slightly. But, don't worry, that guy won't do it in the daytime. Besides, his target is me, so he won't do it to you before he gets rid of me, because he's afraid of alerting the enemy. Ji Yunfan said in a flat tone. But, Brother Dante, whatever you say, is what it is. Let's go find some ingredients. Just as Ji Yunfan expected, the guy who looked like Satan, after seeing several people leave, hesitated for a moment, and then hid again. In their opinion, other people were not a threat at all. Several people lit a pile of firewood, and several people gathered around the fire, and started to burn the monster meat. Ji Yunfan smeared the seasoning he had prepared on the monster meat, and saw the fragrance overflowing, and soon drifted to a place not far away. The young man named Satan naturally smelled it, and couldn't help smacking his lips. Don't mention that the barbecue made by this bastard is quite fragrant. It should taste very delicious, right? Damn bastards, I'm hungry here, but you guys are eating and drinking there. Wait a minute, I'll deal with you. First, let you cook a delicious meal for me. If it's to my taste, I'll spare your life and let you be my professional chef. If you don't cook well, I'll cut you into 8 pieces. The young man surnamed Satan muttered in his heart. Brother Dante, the barbecue you made is so delicious. I've never tasted something so delicious. Several people sat around and praised it. It's okay. This is the ingredient I spent a while to research. Although Ji Yunfan's tone was very calm, he was happy in his heart. Chapter 374 Satan. He's ready to attack now. Ji Yunfan suddenly said. The members of this team were already accustomed to Ji Yunfan's magical induction ability and did not show much curiosity. After listening to him, these people just tightened the long swords in their hands, secretly glanced around, and finally cast their eyes on Ji Yunfan and asked, how should we deal with it? Don't worry, I have already laid a trap, waiting for him to fall into the net. As long as he dares to move, I will let him know why the flowers are so red. Ji Yunfan squinted his eyes and sat cross-legged there. There are many towering trees in the north of the place chosen by Ji Yunfan. It must be said that these towering trees are a good place to hide. It is a flaw that Ji Yunfan deliberately left just to give the opponent a hope, so that the opponent will not give up the consciousness of sneak attack directly. At this moment, the boy named Satan is active on these towering trees, just as Ji Yunfan expected. The boy surnamed Satan was as agile as a monkey. He used some soft branches to move between several big trees without making any sound. No one could notice him in the dark night. It should be said that he did not feel that anyone noticed him, but his every move was under the surveillance of Ji Yunfan's shadow demon. To be honest, as a hunter, this boy surnamed Satan had a natural advantage. He could hide his murderous aura completely. This boy surnamed Satan was some distance away from the tent of Ji Yunfan and others. Now he was walking slowly around the tent, often wandering on the edge of assassination. In fact, this boy surnamed Satan was a very patient hunter. Gradually, the boy surnamed Satan slowly approached the position where Ji Yunfan was. Although everything seemed normal, he did not attack directly. He stared coldly at the tents below from above, as if thinking about how to act. The quieter it was, the more unreal it felt to him. It was not the first time for him to assassinate someone, but it was the first time for him to encounter such unprepared people. It felt like someone was saying in his ear, "Hurry up and do it, I'll wait for you here." Damn it, what's going on? There's not even a night watchman at night. This looks like a trap. The boy surnamed Satan frowned slightly and hesitated. On the surface, it does look like a good opportunity to attack. If they are all inexperienced adventurers, they may really open the door, but that kid doesn't look like that. The boy surnamed Satan took a few small stones in his hand, 2 of which flew towards the tent with a whistle, and another sound fell lightly in the surrounding grass. A few panicked shouts came out from the tent, and then Hadjid and his men suddenly walked out of the tent and looked towards the place where the sound of the stone was coming from in the distance. No, where is that guy now? Seeing Hadjid and his men walk out of the tent, the boy who looked like Satan was even more puzzled. He felt more and more that there seemed to be something wrong. Could it be that they really set a trap to lure me here, but are they really so confident that they can keep me here? The boy surnamed Satan hesitated at this moment, perhaps because Yunfan had left a very deep impression on him during the day, and his unfavorable demon fighting spirit had lost its effect. However, it was precisely because his demon fighting spirit had lost its effect that he was extremely frightened in his heart. No matter what, he had to kill this boy who could pose a threat to him. He felt that this boy seemed to be his nemesis, and even the nemesis of their Satan clan. If this guy didn't die, their clan would probably perish. But when he thought of this idea, the boy surnamed Satan felt very ridiculous. You have to know that there are many saints and strong men in your family. Even a powerful force like the church dare not do anything to your family. To be precise, you can't do anything to your family. Hadjid didn't leave the tent too far away, because Yunfan had already told him. Hadjid and his men looked carefully in the direction where the stone came from. The Satan boy hiding in the tree used a soft branch to slowly approach the direction of the few people. It seems that he has made up his mind to get rid of these people first. Come back. Yunfan's voice suddenly sounded in the ears of these people. These guys did not hesitate at all and quickly retreated to the tent. The boy surnamed Satan walked slowly, his eyes full of vigilance, quietly waiting to lurk in the bushes 10 meters away from Hadjid, just waiting for these guys to explore and approach, and immediately give them a surprise attack. The boy surnamed Satan, who was floating on the branch, magically did not make any sound, nor did he show any figure. Slowly approaching the group of adventurers. It seemed that the mission was about to be accomplished, but who knew that Yunfan suddenly interrupted all the plans of the young man named Satan at this most critical moment. God of demons, damn bastard, are you really the threat destined to me? The powerful magic bullet suddenly broke through the air at this time. The sharp whistling sound of the magic bullet breaking through the air in the silent night was very harsh. With the help of the cork floating, the young man named Satan suddenly found that the target of the magic bullet was actually himself, and he immediately looked horrified. At this moment, he had no time to think about how he was discovered by the other party, and he didn't care about hiding his body anymore, because he knew that hiding now had no practical meaning. At this moment, suddenly a very bright light came from all directions. The boy named Satan found himself in the daytime. The bright light made it difficult for him to open his eyes. The biggest feature of their tribe was that they were good at using shadows. In the most ancient times on the continent, their tribe was called the Shadow Clan. They were good at night operations, so almost all the people in their tribe were elves and killers in the dark. Under the strong light, he had lost the ability to use shadows to dodge. To be honest, the boy named Satan was very panicked at this moment, and his heart was full of all kinds of doubts. In order to avoid the attack of magic bullets, the boy named Satan had no foothold, so he could only jump to the ground. At this moment, a series of magic bullets came from a distance again. Chapter 375 Shadow Clan. This matter needs to start from the fight between Yunfan and the boy named Satan. How can this boy be a demon? He is just a member of the Shadow Clan. Sakuden said to Yunfan. What is a member of the Shadow Clan? You know that there is more than just the human race on the continent. A long time ago, there were thousands of races. The Shadow Clan is a very ancient race, which can be said to be a branch of the human race. Because of the communication with Satan, Yunfan knew the weakness of the boy named Satan, so when he set the trap, he deliberately made a magic flashlight so that the boy named Satan could not escape. The boy named Satan in the air was unable to stop his body from falling at this time. He used the fighting spirit in his body to the extreme and used the long sword in his hand as a fulcrum to bloom with yellow fighting spirit defense. However, in a hurry, the boy named Satan obviously suffered a loss. Although he was not directly hit by the magic bullet, he was hit on his body and his chest was hit by the magic bullet. He groaned and fell into the lush bushes. Haha. It's really not much different from what I expected. Think about it. I'll take advantage of the darkness to launch a sneak attack. Yunfan, who was far away, suddenly shouted calmly, "Today I will teach you a lesson and tell you what it means to be a demon when you are a righteous man." Because it was as bright as day at this moment, the boy surnamed Satan became a living target. Several waves of attacks were launched, aiming directly at the boy, surnamed Satan, who had just landed. The bush was very lush, and after landing, he dodged in it very flexibly. The sneak attack failed, and fell into someone else's trap. The facts are always unexpected. The boy surnamed Satan, who had just dodged, became more panicked after hearing Yunfan's words. Several waves of attacks suddenly fell. This time, the boy who looked like Satan dodged the magician's attack, but the arrow shot by the archer, who was completely invisible, happened to hit the boy's buttocks. A cry of pain suddenly came from the mouth of the boy surnamed Satan. The boy named Satan obviously hadn't reacted yet. He cried out in pain and changed direction, trying to attack several people from the other side. However, as Yunfan's magic gun attacked continuously, the attacks of the group came one after another, and all magically recognized the boy named Satan. What is going on? Why do you seem to have predicted my every move? The boy named Satan, who was bombarded repeatedly, had never been so depressed as today, and finally couldn't help cursing. All along, this boy who looked like Satan was extremely confident in his ability to hide his tracks and sneak attack people. He never thought that anyone could see through his tracks in the forest, but this time, facing several adventurer groups that were not very powerful, this boy named Satan suffered more than once. No matter how he dodged, he would be overwhelmed by the attacks. In this short while, he was actually seriously injured. Looking at the strong light shining from a distance, she felt that all her secrets had been seen through. Who is that person? How do they know me so well? The boy named Satan, who had been in a passive position since the sneak attack, finally couldn't hold back and rushed over from a distance. Although he felt that his current behavior was rather reckless, he had no choice. Feeling that he was becoming more and more passive, the boy named Satan had to take out a bag from his body. Beast pet bag? Yunfan recognized the origin of the bag at a glance. This is a special space bag made by a high-level space magician. It can be used to store contracted mounts or magic pets. Because of the complicated production process, ordinary people cannot get this kind of bag. Yunfan has been on the mainland for so long, but this is the first time he has seen a beast pet bag. If possible, Yunfan really wants to have a beast pet bag to store his own mount. As soon as Yunfan finished speaking, the boy named Satan had already opened his beast pet bag and released the tiger and lion in the beast pet bag. Tiger and lion, attack. The young man surnamed Satan shouted with a resolute look in his eyes. After hearing the order from his master, the tiger and lion looked up to the sky and roared, and then flew towards Yunfan and the others. The attacks that had been directed at the young Satan suddenly split at this time, and the target became the tiger and lion that flew over swiftly. However, the tiger and lion's body was very strong, and its movement speed was faster than lightning. Many of the attacks of the crowd missed, and the only magic bullet of Yunfan fell on the tiger and lion, and did not cause much damage. For the 7th level magic beast, the magic bullet equivalent to the 4th level magic did not have much effect. If you admit your mistake now, and swear in the name of your ancestors that you will not come to trouble us, I will let you go. How about it? At this time, Yunfan suddenly stopped attacking and said solemnly, "Haha, bastard, are you scared?" The young Satan seemed to think that he had guessed everything, and said with a ferocious face, "You really don't know what's good for you. Do you really think you can defeat me with a 7th level calamity beast?" Yunfan's face was gloomy, and he couldn't help shaking his head. I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Asshole, you look down on me. The boy surnamed Satan said viciously. The boy surnamed Satan looked cold and began to manipulate the long sword in the hand of the demon. In the dark sky, a long black line suddenly shot out, and after drawing a beautiful arc in the void, it suddenly stabbed Yunfan. Yunfan obviously felt the coming of danger and dodged the first attack of the long sword very quickly. At the same time, the boy surnamed Satan, holding a long sword, angrily approached the two adventurers closest to him, trying to combine the power of the tiger and lion, and desperately killed these people closest to him on the spot. Don't worry about the tiger and lion, just leave that thing to me. You all attack this kid with all your strength. Yunfan suddenly shouted, causing these adventurers to turn around and continue to attack the boy surnamed Satan who was approaching quickly. Yunfan suddenly took out the Daoluo sword from his space ring, took a step forward, and rushed in front of Hushi. Then he activated all the Dao Ki in his body and used the demon sealing sword technique one by one. The powerful force made Hushi unable to open his eyes, and this strong attack left many cuts on Hushi. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.